Welcome to to the special public meeting of February 22nd, 2020 of the Township of Washington Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on February 19, 2020, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal court for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at the mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Salute to the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Cumming.
Here.
Councilman DeSena.
Here.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Here.
Council President Feeney.
Here. Also in attendance, please recognize Peter Kalawari, Mayor, Robert Togo, Administrator, and Susie Wachowski, Township Clerk. Okay, we have 2 things. February 12th, approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, we can move to general public discussion. May I have a motion to open the public discussion?
So moved. Second.
Sue? All in favor?
Aye.
Please note that the public discussion is 5 minutes per person. May I have a motion to close public session?
Oh, you got
I'm sorry, wait, can I invite, we need the public to come up and speak.
Yeah, when your back is
I
toward
know,
them.
it is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Michael Oman, 2 Clark Avenue. I wanted to know, at the last meeting, I had inquired about who was actually running the accounting in the department or up on the 2nd floor in the absence of a certified CFO and a certified accountant. And if you've made any progress on determining who's actually handling the accounting upstairs.
I don't have all the final answers yet, but I will ask you.
Okay. Is it that we don't know?
No, I have to make sure the information is correct when I'm receiving it.
And will that be reported at the council meeting, or
Yes.
will you reach out to me?
Probably reported at the next council meeting.
Okay. The other question I had is, do you plan on having department heads and directors participate in the budget meetings?
We are planning on talking to some of the department heads, some of the directors, but nothing formal's been said yet.
Well, police are coming today
Oh, police are coming today.
at noon.
Okay.
Okay. And
As we go through the budget process, that's when we're making those decisions.
Can we have a schedule of what departments are coming to what meetings so we can be prepared for the departments that come, please?
We haven't.
As soon as you set the meeting dates further, we can.
But I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, we didn't know police was coming until you just said it, Mr.
It
Kalmar.
was a yesterday decision, right, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on, there's no discussions. I believe that the mayor, they must have had a discussion.
No, but I would
Yeah,
have liked to.
we checked with them and they could all
Yeah, no, I would just
coincidentally
like
make
to
it.
go through their department budget, so I had an,
Yeah.
so I was aware,
Yeah.
prepared.
it's okay to fly behind, there's no problem with that, Mike.
Let's not be sarcastic, let's be productive. Come on.
Well, if we want to be productive,
We're trying.
we would have notified the council of the department that's going to be there, so they could do a deep dive into the budget and really look at it and determine the types of questions they want to ask, rather than
But we
flipping to the page and saying, okay, sounds good.
You know what, the beauty of that is that nothing needs to be set in stone at that moment, and if there are questions and we need to look at it further, we could always call them back.
Sure,
So-
sure.
And
Just gonna try
everybody
to
has
be
actually had the budget, so everybody, in my opinion, should have reviewed the budget already? And if you had serious questions from that department, brought them up and maybe then asked for the heads to be there?
Sure.
And I do like though, that Councilman DeSena, I do like the, idea of having the schedule
Yeah,
ahead of time
absolutely.
moving forward, but this being the first time they're coming, if there's any further questions, I would definitely ask that they come back.
Sure.
That's right, okay.
Or if not come back, at least we'll get answers on any
Correct.
questions.
Yes. And I am fully prepared with the budget. I have my comments in here, but I would have just liked to have been
Yeah,
able to,
like I said, it was
you know,
just,
zone in on the exact police department budget. Not that I have any issues with it.
And understanding that they are going to be here today, is there a plan, or will they be able to speak to their plans on pursuing accreditation?
I actually have to defer to
I'm gonna say,
Mr. Tobo.
from a budgetary standpoint, they might, but other than that, they're not gonna go into a deep dive on the accreditation process.
Well,
But it will be
the-
part of the conversation.
The reason I ask is there were capital allocations or capital projects requested, and I believe some for the PD were around preparing for accreditation. And I guess if we go back probably 8 years, maybe more, I think at the time it was Mr. Chucko, or I don't know if he was captain, lieutenant, came, spoke to the council with a state police, an ex-state police who was a consultant on accreditation. And we've been hearing about it for 8 years, and we hear that there are things that are needed to pursue accreditation, and I haven't heard a solid plan. So why are we making expenditures to support something towards accreditation if we don't have a plan towards accreditation?
I didn't say we didn't have a plan, I just said that since these are budget talks, it'll be limited to budget. They will certainly come to the council at a future point and go into the process further, but, you know, we want to keep the budget part of this moving, obviously.
Sure. And lastly, in the last meeting, I had raised a question about an expense that was recorded in 2020, and based on the limited data that was on the schedule, it appeared it was a 2020 charge that was billed against the 2019 expense line.
I don't have an answer on that yet, but
I
will.
do.
You do, okay. As of Friday, I did not know.
It was a bill submitted that covered billing for 19 and 20. It was caught by myself prior to the meeting. Should have been separated, 19 versus 20. That has since been corrected. It'll be on the next bills list.
Thank you.
Mr. Tobo, do you have a microphone?
It's
You're
supposed to
sharing,
have that.
okay.
I think these sound bars work.
Oh, they do, okay.
Yeah.
Ricky just said if you could just, when you're, just lean
Okay.
in, thank you.
you
Anybody
go.
else?
That works for you?
Yes.
Hi, Joe Durso, 12 Viola Terrace. Just a quick question on, I asked at the last meeting with the Turnpike Authority, I kind of reached out to Assemblywoman Shapizi back in November and Assemblyman Off. Yeah, they said, obviously, it's just not a town effort. It's state, you know, it's assembly, it's freeholders. I mean, I know it's what I'm looking for, which I think, Mike, you're aware of it. Steve, you're aware of it. Peter, you're definitely aware of it, what we tried, you know, but I kind of reached through them through Messenger and Facebook.
You're referring to the new exit, Joe?
Yeah, a possible
Oh,
new
right,
exit.
okay.
It's a wish list, you know, but I think it should be done, you know, as former mayor, Sopwitz and myself, you know, back in 2012 or 11, you know, started with this, and, you know, then terms ended and things went by the wayside. But we all feel the effects of what's going on, you know. 168, in my opinion, and maybe you guys should look into it again. John O'Horan, at the time, was with the NJTA. I don't believe, he might still be there, he might be at a higher level right now, but he did offer this town a traffic light when we put that exit in. Now, there's so much stuff that's gonna go on in the next couple of years by Van Emberg. I really think a traffic light would help that situation, a blinking traffic light. Maybe, you know, when you know, this is what I'm getting
It
to.
was a full traffic light, Mr. Durso, it wasn't a blinking.
Right, but they said the township police can control it. but during the day, it would be our light. John O'Horn, if you can look back, I mean, again, it's yours.
My former firm designed the light, and it was
Right.
taken out by
But could
the
it be,
request of
could it have
township.
blinked?
At night, it could blink just like the one in front of Fresh Grocer does.
Right.
So right outside the exit, so right at the end of the exit.
Yeah, but during the day, it would operate as a normal traffic.
But at peak times, could it have possibly ever adjusted? Because that was one of the things, they,
Anything's possible, Mr. Durso,
Yeah.
Why was it taken out? By?
because the township decided it was dangerous to put a
yeah,
traffic light.
former, who's the head of traffic, Sergeant Hackport, through the former mayor said it wasn't feasible. And, whatever, that just led to, obviously, I didn't have a say in the matter, but I thought it would help slow down traffic, especially coming from the blind side from the left.
It created gaps, which was a good thing, and it created a full controlled movement coming off the parkway.
Right.
For the left-hand turn and the right-hand turn. That
it's
would be
very-
protected by a red light going the opposite way.
Yeah, and it's very dangerous, and I know we can, I know Ken was actively involved, because we had him actively involved with going to Woodcliff Lake. I went to Woodcliff Lake, other than basically kind of like sarcastically get laughed out of a council meeting. Steve, you were there with me that day. It's like, not gonna happen. Then I had former police chief Jankowitz, I think his name was, offered to take a ride, wanted me to take a ride with him, and, he goes, not gonna happen in our town. It's just not gonna happen where you can make a right-hand turn up there. So that's where I kind of got, I said, I need help. We all need help. You need help. And you need assembly people and freeholders, because they represent District 39, but you see all the building that's going on up there. It's gonna affect our town. Van Emberg is horrendous, but my point is, was there a meeting, because I spoke to Bob Off yesterday or 2 days ago, was there a meeting set, and did it get canceled, or are you resetting a meeting?
Let me say, there was a meeting set that he reached out and asked to postpone. It is not rescheduled yet. I did bring it up at my last Valley Mayor's meeting about the new exit.
Right.
They all seemed interested. They asked me to get them more information to see if it's something they would be behind when we meet with the assembly people also, because that would certainly lend some weight to it if we can get more mayors of the valley to be in support.
I mean, I know it's a wish for us, but it's, they're not gonna budge. Woodcliff Lake is not gonna budge.
No.
Not on the right turn, right.
And just a little education on that road, that's Saddle River Road, it's a county road, and, again, I'm no engineer, but, I do, my daughter works for BMW, corporate center. They all say, 7, 8 years ago, I had other people up there that were willing to write letters, because people come out of Nanuet and upstate New York, they gotta go either the exit at the service center, or come all the way down to 66 and go back up, or Schoolhouse Road. So it would be a perfect south and north exit, it takes the planning board of the NJTA to get letters and help, but again, I'm saying, you're not gonna be able to get it done yourself, but
No, that's why I asked the mayors to
But the
get
mayors-
behind it.
I've asked, Mr. Durso, I've asked the prior councils, including your council, Mayor Sopkowitz entertained it. It was gonna go ahead, and then she stopped it, and then another council stopped it. The only way to prove our hardship is to do an origin and destination study. And it would involve reading license plates as they come off the exit, and tracking them of which way when they get to the intersection, do they go left, right, or straight?
right, yeah.
And then having the same license plate readers at the border of Hillsdale and at the border of Woodcliff Lake. And it would see that car made it, came off the exit, made a left, went through Hillsdale, got up to Woodcliff Lake. And then we could say, hey, 2,000 cars did this on this day, so we know we have hardship. And I've been asking for this origin and destination study for years, and it's pretty much.
Who does that, or is it,
It's an engineering study.
or does the NJTA?
No, we'd have to do it. It's like an $8,000 study.
Yeah, but again, I get aggravated because
Well, it's easy for us to all say that
Why
people
should-
are going out of Washington Township, but until we can prove that that's what's
But
happening.
can't you prove an exit is needed since 1980?
No, but I'm saying, but for $8,000, at least then we have a solid case to say, hey, all these cars went left at the exit at 168, they went up the hill into Hohokus, all these cars made the right and then proceeded it straight to Westwood, straight into Township or Paramus, or straight into, Hillsdale and Woodcliff
I
Lake.
appreciate your knowledge on this. Hopefully you guys can get, something done when, can you let us know when your meeting is? Or, listen, as a citizen, I can only send letters to higher authorities, like Shapizi and Oth. So I would like to, I would love for you guys to stay on it, because I think
I've
it's
spent,
it's well needed.
I've spent a lot of time reviewing what you had come up with 8 years ago and other issues, and
Yeah, and I have contacts, like I said before, from Montville that are still willing to help, and BMW are willing to help, so just, please, we're gonna need it, because it's gonna be a lot of congestion in this town in the
Absolutely.
next 5 years. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes. Hi, Anthony Conti, 490 Bridgewood Boulevard North. I noticed actually my neighbor, Ronnie, noticed that there were some people walking around the swim club on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week past. And he stopped them and asked, they were town employees at the swim club, and he was asking what they were doing. And he says they were looking to see what needed to be cleaned up and what needed to be done in the area. So that lets me know that you guys are still looking at the swim club to either lease, purchase, or take over. I'm going to inform the town. I'm also going to inform your town attorney that I am going to be, through the Sunshine Law, I'm going to be requesting the closed meeting notes and minutes after it comes out into the public on 2160. So whatever you guys are saying or doing, we'll eventually all find out. That's number one. Number two, I heard in the last budget meeting that we were paying $8,000 for a window that the children broke during summer rec. Why didn't we put that through insurance? Did we ever get an answer on that?
Number one is, I reviewed the meeting, I wasn't here for it. It is not just a window. Window was a big part of it, but there were other incidentals, so I don't want anyone thinking that it was an $8,000 window that was broken. And we're looking into submitting to insurance now.
So you're going to put it through insurance?
Yes.
Okay, so we just found $8,000 for, Mr. DeSanta said we would have to, for the exit. What was it called, Mr. DeSanta?
origin and destination study.
Origin and destination study. So if we were going to pay $8,000 for some repairs instead of putting it through our insurance, maybe we can take that same $8,000 and do something about exit 168 and take some of the hardship off of the people of Washington Township. I'm one person alone who tries to pull. I don't even go to Jackson Avenue anymore and try to make a left because it's taking your life into your own hands. So, and now you're putting more people up at the Viviano property, and you're going to have that increase of traffic. It's going to become a hardship for the town. So,
Don't think anyone's disputing that.
yeah, thank you.
Bob, could we receive what the incidentals were that were broken at Bethany, please?
Yeah, we're itemizing everything.
Because, I mean, it was stated it was just a window, so I don't want anybody.
No, it wasn't. I said there was a window and other items.
Yeah.
So that's what
It
it
did
said.
say other items
Yes.
on that.
And to clarify one of Mr. Conti's questions, the cleanup endeavors were undertaken by the DMF director and one employee, identifying areas where the green team would be doing cleanup. That's why they were back there.
So was the green, I'm sorry. So the township employees were checking up for the green team? Is that what you just said?
Is it recognized or
Yeah, that's because the green team is looking to clean up parts of the town, wherever there is need. So Tom Sears is,
I understand.
we're working together with the green team and Tom Sears.
Okay, so
For clarity, the DMF director is a member of the green team.
he is. So just so I understand, so it's clear, the green, when the DMF goes out, they go out on town time? Is that normal? Is that what, I mean, people are getting paid to be on the green team? I'm just curious. That's just a curiosity
In an
question.
effort to assist the green team.
Yes.
Yeah.
DMF was helping identify areas of potential cleanup and helping them understand what our boundaries might be as opposed to other properties.
Okay, that's,
Like Mr. Sears reported about the cleanup behind the shopping center with all the garbage and things like that, so.
perfect. So when you talk to your DMF or whoever's involved, tell them to go down by the dumpster, where they keep their dumpster, because if you look behind there, there's plastic cups, I've cleaned it personally. And this year, again, I have not done it this year. but there's cups, there's plastic containers. I don't know if they went down that far. They look like they were only up front by Ronnie's house. He didn't mention them going down back, but anyway, it's just a thought. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Motion to close public session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion 2020 budget.
What page are we starting on?
I think there were a few things we wanted to go back over that were still the open items from the previous meeting.
Oh.
Let's see if we can get through them.
Susan, can I just make a couple of comments,
Yes.
having watched the last meeting, but unfortunately,
Just let us know what page you're
no.
starting on, Mr. Mayor.
They're kind of general, it's
Okay.
not anything specific. The topic of the terminal leave payout was brought up. Just want everyone to know, we can't do it until the contract is signed because it's part of the new contract. And it's unfortunately still tied up between the attorneys. We're hoping to have it resolved soon, but didn't want anyone to think that all of last year went by and we didn't do it. It's part of the new contract that is not signed yet.
Mr. Mayor, weren't we advised at the last meeting that some people did take it already?
No,
Anybody's taken it?
what I was trying to explain the last meeting was that there's also a step needed by all the employees that would be receiving it to determine where the funds are to go.
But somebody also made a statement, I don't recall who, Mr. Tello, that some people already received it. Is that true?
No, some people have already determined where the money's going to go.
Okay,
But
just
not
want to
everyone's
clarify.
finished that.
Okay, that's all.
The loader that we have outside, comment was made, that we get it just to get it. I just want to inform the public that through that 1033 program, all that equipment is out on a website, and minutes mean something because a wide region of people can put in for it, so decisions have to be made kind of quick whether to get it or not. The police and I work together on any large ticket items to decide if it's needed or not. We thought we could use it. We didn't have time to research because we would have lost it, whether we could retrofit it. So, just want everyone to, we're not getting things just to get it. We try and get things that we're going to actually use. Comment about the drainage was made on people's private property. Just want to remind everyone, and maybe the new council members, we've already done something like that on Prospect where we installed backflow preventers on people's private property for sewerage that was backing up into their house. So this isn't necessarily something new that we do on private property.
Mr. Calamari,
Yes.
I just want to, I think that's comparing apples to oranges.
Okay.
I think putting a backflow preventer at the right-of-way line at somebody's home is a lot different than going into the rear yards of people's homes and creating easements with drainage coming to the front. So I
Okay.
respectfully, you're right to your statement,
Sure.
but I don't think, installing a backflow at the front, because their houses are filling up with sewage, multiple times because of our ineptitude to clean these lines all those years, is totally different than some water sitting in somebody's backyard.
Okay.
I agree.
Do you agree with me, Mr.
I agree,
Calamari?
100%.
Okay.
Well, can we clarify something here? So is the council's position that we will not address drainage issues on private property that are affecting multiple dwellings?
The remarks at the meeting were that we needed clarification on what the project entailed, the details on the project, before we made a decision on the budget item, sir.
And we will certainly do that, but I'm hearing that some council members feel that it's something we should stay away from completely, so.
My feeling
I'm
is
just looking
the
for,
sewage issue was different because we were,
It's our system.
I don't want to say we were negligent, but we didn't keep up with the cleaning of the pipes. That's on us.
I don't know, you were there.
We had to clarify it, and we had to rectify it. So we didn't clean it, we had to fix it so it wouldn't happen again, because it did cause a lot of problems and
Sure.
and it was about a 3-year process getting that from.
Yeah, and it
time
happened
happened
multiple
to the
times.
time it occurred.
Yep.
This is multiple properties that have drainage issues that have each property owner takes care of their drainage issue, it won't be a multiple problem.
And the problem,
So-
is the problem
so-
related to a town property that caused the problem, or it's not?
The reason we're bringing these particular items up is we can't determine what's causing the issue.
Okay.
There's nothing on any one of the individual properties that should be doing it. There's nothing visible that, I should rephrase, we could have repaved the road and repitched something that could have started the problem. The problem started so long ago, there's no way to really determine the origin.
Okay.
But clearly, there's not one fix for a property owner to make that would rectify the problem.
But Mr.
And that's
Tupper-
from engineering.
But it's clear that the source is not coming from a town facility.
I can't say that.
No, I'm saying there's no town property in the area that's causing that flooding.
I can't say that. It
So
could be the
how do we,
street.
so how do we move forward to make the determination whether it's a town property?
Local roads.
Well, we'll have more information
Where,
from the
where
end.
is it, Mike?
According to the addresses I saw, I looked at the tax map, and there's no town property within any vicinity of those properties, if those are the address, those two addresses are correct.
There's 3 or 4 addresses that are
I
associated
only
with it.
had two on the,
I will have a full report by the engineer for us to digest.
So I think, Mike,
Oh,
would
that's
you
what we
agree
need.
that once we have the full report, then we'll be able to make a decision?
I'm
That's right.
not, you know, sewage and stormwater and rainwater are two separate, you know, we had these people's basements fill up with sewage.
No, I'm not
because-
talking about, what I'm saying to you is that.
I'm not willing to go fix people's backyards, no.
But
I don't
if it's,
think we
the
can
report
afford it.
comes in and say it's a town caused
If
the
we
issue.
caused it, then obviously
Yeah,
it's something we would fix.
If we
But
have
if
clear,
we're not
dis-
sure,
yeah, if we
we're
have
just gonna
clear
do
and
it.
decisive,
That's my question.
according to the two addresses, there's no town property
Forget
near.
the two addresses,
Yeah.
based on the report that's going to come
I'd have
out.
to, I'd have to review it when we get the
If the
information.
Okay, so I
report
think
said
we can't do
clearly
anything.
it is probable that it was from the town, I would not have an issue. But $120,000 for something that will never really be determined if he did it, if he didn't do it, that I have an issue with. That's all I'm
Just to
saying.
clarify, 120 is for more than one project.
It's
It
the
says
one that we're
identified
talking.
residents is what we talked about.
Well,
Identified residents.
What I'd like to know is, are we okay having the engineer finish his report to present, or are you saying, don't even bother?
I would say if he's got a clear, if his report is gonna prove that it's coming from a town-owned property,
Well,
then yes. If it's not gonna, no,
I would
but
say
it's
you have to
easy.
do the
but it's
research
easy-
anyway
no,
to
but it's
know
easy,
that,
but-
so.
But you can look at a tax map and say, if there's no town property around him, it can't come from a town
But
property.
if Mr. Tovo said it's more than the two addresses that you recognize, then
No, but what I'm saying, but Stacy, I'm saying, why spend the money? Like if it's coming off the DMF, I agree with what Desiree just said, yeah, it's our problem. But if there's nothing that is contiguous to that property that is a source from the town, then stop right there and
But
don't go
again,
any
Mr.
further.
We
Tovo
won't
said
know
there were-
until.
Yeah, but you don't have to go, you don't have to go into a full
But
report.
Mr. Tovo did say that there's more addresses involved than the two you're talking about.
Yeah, but I'm saying any of these addresses, if they don't have a source coming from the town, like
Well, I know what
Desiree's
he said,
saying,
but we're trying to get an answer, or the other two addresses.
Right, but he's saying even with those two addresses, if you look at the map.
there's
right,
not,
you
no,
can
but
see-
even if he has 4 more, if the engineer just
That's
does
what
a
I'm
quick.
asking Mr. Tovo.
Yeah, no, if he does a quick search and says, there's no way a town property could affect this
Is there a
backyard,
town
then
property
stop.
here?
Why spend the money?
Is there a town property here? that you-
No, there's not, but there are town roadways there. And I can't tell you right now if the road could be part of the issue as well. So I think the engineer needs to finish the report so that we have a full understanding.
I agree, let's get all the facts before we just cut something off midway.
But I'd rather save the money. If he can clearly look at it, Bob, and say, it's got a possible town issue, then proceed. But if there's a few, like the two I looked at, that have no contiguous town property to them, or, you know, and the road didn't appear to be an issue, but again, it's his decision what he says, why bother spending the money on it?
No, I think go ahead with the report. I think we need a definitive answer from the engineer, because we don't know for sure if it's our roadways involved. That is, that,
So we know what that's
yes or
gonna
no?
cost.
If
But
a
I'm-
roadway,
but
a
Stacey,
roadway,
that's what I'm saying.
right, a
Done, so
roadway
it's not
could
gonna be much
cause a
additional.
problem,
It
right?
could, but
It's
You're-
mostly- can you-
water can't go uphill.
I understand that, but I mean, if he's gonna be done with the report
He's
soon.
mostly done,
Yeah,
Mayor.
so,
Yes.
by the next regularly scheduled council meeting, right, we can
Yes.
be close, if not actually have it.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll hear this meeting and realize we need to have that resolved by next meeting.
Understood.
Just 2 more items, didn't mean to get so diverted into that one. You spent a lot of time talking about postage at the last meeting.
Which is one of the items I wanna go back over.
Okay, I just want to either remind or let you, well, probably let you all know, last year, we were close to having to do estimated tax bills because we keep getting the numbers from the state later and later each year. And the CFO said we were kind of right on the cusp of having a cash flow issue last year. So whoever the new CFO is going to be, I don't want to handcuff his or her hands coming into the job. So I'd appreciate if you would revisit the postage, because we might have to do 2 rounds of tax bills this year, one estimated and one actual. And my last item, only a suggestion. There are approximately 420 line items in the budget, but 160 of them are less than or equal to $1,500. Dollar-wise, that compromises 5% of the budget. That's if they were all at $1,500, but it's 35% of the line items. So I know what a headache it can be to get either 2 or 3 of us together at any one time. I'd like to make the suggestion that maybe we bypass those in the initial, and that way you've done 95% of the budget amounts, and then if there's time for additional budget meetings, go back and revisit those items. So just something I saw as part of my going through the budget. Thank you, that's all.
You're welcome. Okay, are we ready to start? Okay, so the first, I know you were discussing postage at the last meeting, and so last year they spent $8,733.56, and this year they're asking for $9,000. And
What page are you on, Stacy?
I'm sorry, page
We're on
2.
page
sorry.
2.
Page 2. Sorry, I was the one who said, please tell us the page, and I didn't, so sorry, my fault. So, just from reviewing this, it seems like a reasonable amount of money, because if you go through the rest of the budget, you'll see the rest of the postage lines are 0. It looks like they've put all of the postage into one line. Is that correct?
It is.
So the postage for the whole town is in the one line. There's no other postage amounts in the budget, and it's commensurate with the last year's amount and with an increase.
And to further clarify that, there was one remaining line item for postage for public affairs.
Yes, but
That
it's
has
small.
been zeroed out,
Oh,
and
it
that's
has.
also been put into, it was being charged to admin postage anyway.
Okay, but it
So
was
there's
a
no
very
need to
small
fund it.
amount of money.
It was.
So, what's the comments on, since they've lumped
Well,
it into?
Mr. Cumming already voted on his line, so is it your recommendation to increase it back to its normal what was recommended by the mayor, Stacy?
It is because of the spend from prior year.
And keeping in mind, we might have to do an additional round of tax bills that no one here knew about at the last meeting.
And one thing we weren't doing in prior years, I'm sorry to
That's
interrupt,
okay.
was that we have to do 2 mailings of the homestead rebates instead of 1.
Well,
Yeah, but that's a limited amount. I mean, how many people in
Still
town get
two,
a homestead?
it's
I mean,
still
but
double
it's
what it was.
not, the entire township is not
Still
getting a
double
homestead.
what it
So you
was.
knew the number,
Yeah, but we
right?
all get the form to fill out.
No, we don't.
I get it.
The homestead rebates?
I get the
Yeah, you get the
homestead
state
There's
form,
about
but not.
3,800 lines, from what I understand, so 3,800 pieces of property that will get a mailing going home,
Right.
and you multiply that.
But that's not for homestead rebates, Sue.
Well, is it a tax or is it a homestead rebate fund?
No, Bob's talking about
Homestead
homestead
rebate.
rebate. It's not everybody
And
in
then the mayor's
township.
talking about estimated tax bills that would go out to everybody.
That's
These go
everyone.
out twice. But if you could see from 2018 to 2019, it is in line with the spend.
another issue I think that we're bypassing is the fact that the postage has increased every year or two, by
Don't
a
we get a
penny or
bulk rate?
two.
Don't we get a bulk rate, Bob?
Well, regardless,
Yeah, we get a slightly lower rate, but
all postage
Still goes up.
increases. So that this is not an unreasonable amount. I think
Well, what's your reason
9,000.
for not going to the 9,000?
Because I think we should be using our systems better and emailing invoices and not mailing purchase orders out and stuff like that.
And what about the seniors who don't have email and people who?
They're not vendors who are getting purchase orders.
I don't disagree, Mike, but again, if we have to do 2 rounds of tax bills, that's
But you got
$1,700.
But you got plenty of money there. I mean, you start eliminating purchase orders, you start eliminating, that kind of stuff and making it work, we can lower it.
So we know that
If
there's
it's
going to
your
be
recommendation to raise it back up, put the question out there.
And we are looking to
we
do
know there's
all
going
of
to be
those things.
1,700 additional, and you want to cut. I think that's a lot for 1 year, but
And it's
it's up
not,
to the council.
Well,
Sorry.
last year, Peter, we did do 2 mailings with that $8,700.
right, but you're still
No, we
more than.
didn't.
Yes, we did. We did
Tax
an
bills?
Yeah, we did an estimated
No,
and a
we
final.
didn't. No, we didn't. I said we were on the cusp of having to do it. We didn't do estimated tax bills last year.
We did?
No,
I thought we did.
no. If you look at the postage, there's only 1 line item for
Okay.
tax bill postage.
I thought from meetings we did do an estimate. That's fine.
No.
All right?
And at that, we were 8733, right? So, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I'm saying, between a combination of trying
We're
to
wasting
cut
too much
and,
time. Take a vote.
$300 on this, it's not worth our
We're trying
time.
to listen to, get everybody's opinion and value what everybody's saying, so that's why we don't, if it was an issue last time, let's rectify the issue now and move forward. Okay, let's take a vote.
what are you voting on, leaving it at 9?
Leaving it at 9.
So we're increasing it back from Mr. Cummings' recommendation last week.
It wasn't my recommendation. It was the result of the discussion.
Correct, but it was,
That
but you
you-
took the vote. You took the vote.
I was in charge of the meeting,
Correct, so that's what we're doing. Just wanna put it on record.
contrary to what
But
it
I
said
think
on
what he's
social
saying is not
media.
his recommendation, but what the line item is.
What's the line item?
It's
Exactly.
postage.
What's the number?
00120-100-220.
Page 2,
Page 2 is just the third one down.
the postage.
And it stands minus 1,000.
Well, then, to bring it to 9,000, what it
Yeah.
was.
Absolutely.
Does it-
Mr. Cummings, motion?
Absolutely.
That's
But
my-
I would like to
I
see us
motion
Yes,
that-
can we
do some
motion, can I have a
electronic
motion
stuff.
for a vote, please?
Mr. Cummings just motioned, who's second?
I'll second.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Councilman Casio?
No.
Councilman Cummings?
Yes,
Councilman DeSena?
No,
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes.
So it's back up to 9,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we really putting our effort though? Can we, or we really need to put our effort to making a lot of the stuff that we can electronic?
I think a big part of this is the electronic transmission of purchase orders. That would bring that number down. That is
How
something
far
we're
away
looking
from
to
that
do.
are we though? Like, is that just a thought or where are we?
Well, no, our system can do it. So
Okay.
because it can do it, I would say we're not that far away. We need to have a new CFO in place to move that along.
And from my experience in implementing these processes between development, putting it into production, design, develop, putting it into production, you're at least 6 to 8 months out to make sure
Okay.
that it's a seamless process. So
Okay.
possibly, I would say for
but the
next year.
system does it right now as we speak.
Wait, but you still need to change the process internally and test it and make sure it meets all the audit requirements. Make
It
sure.
already, it's in Edmonds. It's a matter of clicking a button and sending it. That's all they have to do.
Well, we have to advise our vendors, we have to
Right.
get their email addresses.
We don't have their email addresses, Peter, come on.
Well, listen, that's not.
I don't know that they're in
Set up.
Edmonds.
We have to
It's
set up.
set up.
Yeah.
You can't just assume everybody's in the system.
So whose job is that to set up?
It's
Do
probably
we
gonna be
have
the new
the
CFO.
resources for that?
Right now we don't, but we will.
Okay.
Once we have a CFO in place, we have enough support staff to start that.
Yeah, it falls under purchasing for the most part,
Right.
so.
Okay. Correct me, line 001, so the admin, furniture and equipment. I was just curious as I was going through things, is the lease of the postage machine included in this line?
It is.
Did you know how much the postage machine lease is a month roughly? Not
I don't
just-
I would have to check that for you. I
Okay.
can't-
What item number are we on, please, or
It's
page?
00, it's page 2, the second one from the bottom.
Okay.
Furniture and equipment?
Yes.
Thank
What was
you.
your question?
My question was the cost of the rental of the postage machine in this line? Because usually that's where it goes since it's a lease.
And what was the answer?
Yes.
So are we going?
No, that was just a question of mine.
My note on that one, Ms. President, is that it's tabled. So perhaps we need to take a vote on it
Okay.
because we don't have a number, according to my notes.
I don't have that
I
table.
thought, was that one not,
Checked it off.
I thought that one was approved.
I have it checked off.
Check.
No,
So we approved
furniture and equipment was
$2,000?
hold.
We approved
No, it was on hold. I have it on hold.
Furniture and equipment was on hold.
Oh, I have
I have it on
Okay, so
hold.
let's see if we can clear this item. What was the, we don't know how much the postage machine is.
Off the top of my head, I don't recall, but I can get that number for you
Okay.
by next meeting or
No, let's
on
see if we
Monday?
can get through this. So what's the issue with this number? So they're saying that they're requesting $2,000.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
if you look in your actual, it looks like it's $129.95.
for the postage
That's
machine a
what it
month.
looks like, you know, it looks like that's a recurring amount on there, but there's a lot of other stuff in here.
Well, there's also the replenishment plus the fee for the replenishment too.
Yeah,
So
but-
say it's $130 a month.
And then the.
$129.95 a month.
Yeah,
So it's $15.60 a year for the postage machine.
looks like there's a standard here, $129.95, and then there's a $29.05 that
That's-
it pops into.
That's right.
Yeah,
So it's 150, say, times 12. That's $1,800 for that one. What was the issue with the 2,000 here? What was the,
I don't have any notes as to the exact issues.
so can we, if the postage machine is basically this line, and that's the lease for the month, and it comes up to.
I have no issues with it.
Okay, so let's take a vote.
all right, I'm sorry, what are we motioning this?
So it's 300, it's 00120 100-300.
Okay, so we're doing that one, okay.
Yeah.
So,
And what was the monthly lease?
It's 129 plus a
129.
$29.95 fee.
160?
160 a month, which is right around $2,000.
Maybe that's the wrong thing.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's in line item.
It's in the same line item.
Should be hooked up to yourself. All
You're-
right, so-
We are not purchasing any furniture this year, correct?
There may be a small item or two for the administrative assistant's office, just because of the computer setup. That would,
But nothing,
Well, it won't be
nothing
major.
issues, okay.
No, you guys did have that big donation last year.
Correct.
right.
I just want to make sure that the 2,000 is for the postage machine and not for furniture.
Well, I mean, if you do the math, there's no more money there.
little.
I just want to put it on the record, that's all.
Councilman DeSena, you're motioning to,
Approve $2,000 as the mayor's recommendation.
second, please?
I'll second.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes?
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay. And you guys left off on page, well, actually, there was admin, there was the next table item I have, unless I'm wrong, was the, on page 4, admin IT services, it's 103-200.
Yes,
That's correct.
Okay.
that's correct according to my notes.
Me too.
Again, I don't have specific items of objection, but it was tabled.
There was a question raised by Mr. DeSena regarding IT monitoring to Saddlebrook. And if you look at that, those lines, they were charged and then later voided. I checked with our IT person, our IT vendor, and there is no IT monitoring done through anybody else but our IT vendor. So I can only assume there was a mistake there. It was caught, it was voided, so that money never went to,
So it never left the building.
correct.
When was it voided, in 2020 or 2019?
2019.
So that's 20103-200 for the 22,000? Is that the line item?
Correct.
What page is that on, Sue?
Page 4.
Oh, no, I thought you had the detail, sorry.
Oh, sorry. All right, let's get that 103-200.
It's on 12.
It's on,
It's on 12, okay.
starts on 11. It goes on to 12.
Oh, I
you're all
see the
set,
voids
right?
out. Okay. Is that what the stars mean, are the line items? Because the two cancel each other out?
I believe that is correct.
Okay. Okay, do we have, so since that was clarified, do we have any other issues? So last year's spend was 18,492, the year before was 21,955. Is there any other issues with this line or questions?
And just as a reminder, the reason for the slight increase was for our IT vendor to assist with the new SDL software.
Can you just explain that?
Yeah, spatial data logic software currently being used by the construction department. solely for their purposes has now been expanded so we can do tracking of complaints for all departments. Our fleet maintenance can be tracked through there. So we're, in essence, buying the entire package of the different services that SDL provides. Our IT vendor would be the person installing it, because of their depth of knowledge and experience with SDL, can be a source to help us implement and use properly. And
Okay.
Aren't salaries and expenses for the building department supposed to be paid through permits, Mr. Toto?
our
Salary?
salaries,
And expenses for the building department we don't pay those, they get the permit fees
cover them.
cover them, correct? So why?
Yes.
So why isn't it covering the spatial logic fee also?
So, because it's gonna be
Because-
used by multiple departments, it's the
Well,
building
we-
department.
Well, they should pay their
we've been-
prorated share of it. It's supposed to be a self-funded department, the taxpayers are not supposed to pay for the
They
building.
do have in their line item their SDL.
That's what I'm asking.
As it has,
Okay,
as
you
it
had
always
said.
has been,
What's that?
as it always has been,
They have the spatial data logic that they're paying for their portion.
correct.
And they've had it historically, you're saying?
They have.
Okay, that's why, because you had said
My
this
point
includes
from-
the building department. Okay, I thought, I
Well, that was just for historical perspective. We've
Okay.
been using the software, but just for construction, so now we're expanding it to the other departments.
And I
Okay.
did ask him to explain the software, Mike, not.
No, but he had said the building department, and we should not be
Yeah.
paying the building department costs, because they're a self-funded department.
So they have their own,
They do.
okay. Any other questions with this line?
What was the answer, just quickly, to Borough Saddle River payments?
It was voided out, there was an error, if you look on the
That's all
detail.
voided and credited?
If you look on the detail, you can see the ins and the outs on page 12.
My concern is that we made the same issue 4 times. Three times, excuse me.
Kept happening.
Yep.
No, you're right, 4 times.
So why would somebody put it in there 4 times if it was a mistake?
It's the
Just concerning,
same date.
that's all.
Do you think you could just pull up the history of those invoices and let us know at the next meeting why it was entered and then all those, who
So
found
that was
it and who
voided
pulled
out,
it
so the money's back, and the money's
I'll find
not
out
paid.
where I can, yeah.
Yeah,
But is it going somewhere else?
no.
So there's a credit in the account? of-
Yeah, I asked Mr.
Like
Tobo
20?
if he could find out what happened and why the invoices were entered and then pulled out. But it looks like the void, I don't know if Edmonds does the void with the same date on the void. Because Edmonds, if you put the check
No,
in.
the person doing the void would have been dating it.
Okay, so the void's the same date as the account posting date. Excuse me. So it's also not included in last year's expense because
So
it was
this is
voided
just
out.
an install and exploit and training for this. So it's really a one-time thing for updating, for tracking, vehicle tracking.
Yeah, the one-time cost for
I shouldn't see this,
installing,
I shouldn't see this next year.
Excuse me.
well, it's our IT line item, so you're gonna see the IT line item again next year. But of course, there's
The
a,
increase.
right, it should go back down to the normal spend.
Okay, that's okay. I'm okay with it, so for 2,200.
22,000.
22,000. 22,000.
Okay, so we're gonna vote on that and
Yes.
take it back, because it's
Just
tabled.
declare I'm okay with it.
Okay, Sue, can we please take a vote on 00120103200?
Motion by,
So moved.
I'm fine.
second,
Second.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes?
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Now we start with the mayor, where we left off.
Were there-
Mayor's budget.
Everything else was, I didn't have any other tabled items, correct?
You're correct.
Okay.
Except for page 1 wasn't done because we haven't riced those people yet.
Right.
Thank you. You're right.
Well, I just wanted, yeah,
No, right.
Stacy wasn't here, so.
You're right.
Can
You're right.
can we
You're right.
recommend that when it comes to that topic, that we rice everybody when we actually do the salary ordinance, so we only need to discuss them once.
I think that's fair.
It makes sense.
What do you guys, what
Well,
does everybody?
I have lots of questions on all these items, so I'd like to rice them so we could discuss it, and before we do the salary ordinance, because there's a bunch of people where it says 1.5%, and they're getting a 10.5 or 11% increase, so there's errors in there that need to be rectified.
But that's not performance. If those are questions, we can.
Again, Mr. Pollard's guidance is that whenever we discuss an employee, they should be rice, because if their name comes out, we
No,
could
he
be
said
sued.
performance. He said if it was
But
performance related.
discussing with performance and discussing an employee, the minute you say their name, you're in violation.
But
So
Mr.
Mr.
Pollard
Pollard,
Don't say their name.
yeah, well, it's, Peter, it gets.
I know, but it's not fair to rice notice everyone 2, 3, 4 meetings, and, you
And
know,
Mr.
you
Pollard
guys don't
said-
realize what it does to morale in here to rice. We're the only town that rice notices all our employees.
That's Mr. Pollard.
No, Mr. Pollard said only
performance.
if you're talking about
We're
performance.
not talking budget.
He did clarify that
But when
at
I
the
asked,
last meeting.
but the minute I asked, what are they doing to, we're giving somebody an
You're asking about
11.5%
job
raise.
responsibilities?
Yeah, I can't ask that,
But
because,
that's not performance. Job responsibilities is.
again, I'm not putting words in
We
Mr.
can
Pollard's
ask
mouth,
Mr.
I'm just
Pollard
going.
for clarification. Recall, but I believe job responsibilities, job description, and what their role is, based upon how they're performing in their role, are two completely separate items.
Correct, that's correct, from a labor point.
Yeah,
that is-
that's,
The minute you say their name, or we
don't say
discuss-
their name.
It's easier said than done.
Well, if you could, but the thing is like, we're all,
Well, we have to be responsible. If we're told not to say a name, we don't
don't
say a name.
We can just use their titles.
You guys want to do that? That's your prerogative.
But it's not the prerogative, it's for us to move forward with the budget and to get through these pages. To write somebody, it's basically you're discussing their performance. That's what Mr. Pollard said at the last meeting. And if we're not discussing their job performance, but what we're going to pay them in their job responsibilities, it's two completely
Well,
separate items.
if we're entertaining giving somebody an 11 or 12% raise, I want to discuss what performance they've added to their duties and how they are performing these duties, because it's important to me, because I may disagree with, I want to see their,
But their
employee
perform-
evaluation, I want to see their evaluation, and why we're giving them an 11, 12% raise.
But
Do you-
their
Are there
performance,
several that you see? Because
I-
maybe
I
we can
will-
just do the ones that are,
We can't talk about it
but
until we.
that's where I wanted clarification, because to give somebody an increase, just an example, it's not what's happening, I don't know, but I'm just saying from my own experience in being a hiring manager, are you increasing their salary to bring them to market, which a lot of companies are doing with a lot of the
Right.
movements that are going on? Are you increasing their salary because they're getting additional job responsibilities that they didn't have before? Those two, we do not have to involve performance in them, because number one, maybe they're not performing their duties yet.
Well, this council has made some serious market updates to all the salaries of all of our employees the last few years, correct, Mr. Mayor?
Correct.
But that's also historically, nobody was ever brought to market and everybody was part-time, and we never really had a full
But,
staff
but
here.
we
Correct,
brought.
wait, correct, yes or no?
What's that, Stacy?
That we haven't really had a full staff at town hall. They were never really brought up to market, whether they were full-time or part-time.
Well,
No, that's incorrect.
That's
We
incorrect.
brought them up.
No, before you, I'm saying before you, historically,
But the last 2 years since Mr. Calamari and I have been on this council, we brought up everybody.
We brought up every year,
Can
and
I-
last year we made huge increases to bring everyone up to market. So everyone's up to
Can
market.
I make a
well, are we sure
suggestion?
about that though?
Yes,
You're 100% sure that everybody's up to market, okay?
we made significant
Is that
increases.
we bring up the line item. If it has to do with performance, we'll postpone it.
That's
If it
what I'm
has to
saying.
do with
that's
something
what I
else, we'll
recommended.
discuss it.
If
Alright,
there's a
let's
couple
start.
that you know of, that you're gonna need to talk about further, we'll just go to someone else.
The only issue I have about it is that we have a few employees that are on different lines. There's different line items that pay into their salary. So that becomes really confusing. And then you talk about, well, who is that? The same person,
It's
is
still
person A,
confusing.
B, or C?
Correct.
So it's a problem.
Well, we can say the
It's-
same person who's doing job description A is also doing job
It's a-
description
it's-
B without mentioning a
It
name.
becomes an
Let's
issue.
see if we could,
So-
let's see if we could do this the professional way. Let's see if we could, if it turns into a problem, let's see what happens.
Are you saying we're not doing it professionally?
No, I said, let's see if we can do what you're saying without mentioning their names. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, because we can't keep skipping pages and having to go back. We're never gonna finish the budget meetings.
That's why we should raise
Well-
notice them and be done with it.
We can't rice notice every employee, every meeting we're gonna have. That's ridiculous.
And I think it could also give the wrong impression to the employees.
It does.
Yeah.
If they're so concerned for their jobs, and they haven't brought it up to Mr. Tovo. I mean, when they get rice noticed, in the last 2 years, when I've asked council for a rice notice and we've gotten it, we've told them it's just to discuss their salary and stuff in the budget, and nobody's complained about it.
But maybe they
Wait,
haven't.
don't say no one's
That's not-
complaining.
that's not
No one's
true.
complained to you about it.
Correct.
We hear the complaints.
So listen to
Well,
them,
that's
and
fine, but nobody's ever,
let them tell you that they're saying that there's a problem. Let them speak.
fine, it's your, you wanna change it, change it.
I'm not changing
All right,
anything.
let's try to
I'm
work
not- I'm
together,
saying-
because this is gonna really, we're gonna try to work together, so.
Okay, so let Mr. Tovo say if he's had complaints about the race notices.
It's more concern because they're being riced over and over again.
Do they
When you
know
tell-
why? Do they understand
Well,
why?
they're told the first time it's for the purpose of the budget.
Right.
Okay? And when it's round 2 and 3, and I again explain it's for the purpose of the budget, they're still concerned about it because why is it taking more than one meeting to discuss me?
But that may be remedied with a nice, like a conversation as to what the rice notice really, why we need
They
it.
do know what the race
We-
notice.
I know, but I'm not sure why it's killing morale.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
You're doing
Maybe
your
should
job,
not
if you're
other-
doing your job and you're doing
Because-
it productively and
Put-
efficiently.
So actually, our
Put yourself
lovely,
in their shoes.
Sue would
If-
like to
our
speak.
town clerk would actually like to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's-
Well,
I have my
think
back to you, I'm
and I'm
sorry.
just back here looking in, and I'm just gonna tell you, a lot of times that happens because we get into conversations like this, where we get off topic, and things go longer, and then we never get to Desiree, let's say. So then you never get discussed, so now I have to write you again because of the next meeting. So that is what's historically happened since I've been here.
Okay.
So, what Mr. Tovo has said, and I agree with what he's saying, is if you get through the rest of the budget, do everything else but the salaries, and get to the end, and do a rice notice for possibly one meeting, it's
Right.
done. And you know what, you can talk freely about what you need to talk about, you wanna relate it to job experience, you don't wanna relate, whatever it may be, it's done.
So that
So
was
that's my
recommended.
suggestion
Do you
from the
guys agree
outside.
to that? Because that's what was just recommended.
That's what we've tried, that's what we've
Instead-
tried, and it becomes a time-sensitive issue, absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
And again, we're rice noticing 100% of the employees to talk about 5% of their performance. Yeah, that's overkill in my opinion. Why don't we go through, identify those that have to be performance related, rice notice them, and move on.
That might create more of a problem, though.
No, I think every
don't think
employee
it
would
will.
understand.
No.
Well, as Councilman Casio just said, though, there's certain employees that do multiple.
It would be wise to rice all of them for the purpose or the way we're outlining here for one discussion regarding all salaries at one time. That way there's no boundaries. We can speak freely and
We have to
the
agree, though,
employee
that
would
the
easily
objective
understand that.
is going to be to just
Well,
do
that's
what it
Mayor
does.
suggested 10 minutes ago.
Our mayor suggested not rice notice because it's bad for morale.
No, he said do it when we're due, who said do it
He
when we're
said
due?
do
Oh,
it with
I
the
did.
salary
Administrator.
ordinance. He did make that suggestion.
Right, with
But
the
the
salary
salary
ordinance.
ordinance is too late
Mr.
already.
Tovo made the
Mr.
recommendation.
Tovo made it. Okay.
Well, my point is that we present a salary ordinance to the council for review, at the same time we discuss those salaries.
So I
So-
have no problem with that.
I don't have a problem with that
And
either.
it makes sense.
And again, it's something we'd like to do. In the past, we tried to budget to the penny. This year, we'd like to propose a range in the salary ordinance, and so we don't have to worry about budgeting to the penny to match the salary ordinance. It's something we're going to propose, is to do a spread. That way, it gives a little more flexibility.
That's how it's done in most places anyway, that's how I do it.
Excuse me, one sec, there's someone in the hall.
And then we'd have to do a resolution,
Yeah, Mr. Palmer's gonna take care of that,
yeah,
yeah.
which we've talked about, and it works in a lot of other towns.
Well,
Yeah.
most of the towns in the county, that's how they do it.
Yeah, you have a range and the resolution
Right,
has to
resolution
verify the
pinpoints,
exact
you need
dollar
that, you
amount.
need that, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just allows for normal course of business to take place. Okay, so,
I would just like to put,
So-
if we're passing a salary ordinance, and I agree that employee X gets paid Y, there is no change in that, because we've had this issue where people have gotten raises without the council's consent and advice, or however you want to put it, and that's not what the budget is all about. Moving money around to change salaries is not the way municipal government works. We are not a private business, we are a municipal government. If everybody's getting 1.5%, and for some reason we decide to give somebody 5% in the middle of the year because of these ranges, and it doesn't come back to us, and then, Mr. Pollard's, memo says one thing, but then says another thing, it doesn't look right. It gives a it's a non-transparent effort. So if we set the salary ordinance, it should be set at their salary, because they're not going to get another raise until 2021.
Mike, let me just interject, and that is a good thought. So this is what you do, and they do it in other towns. You set their max at the max you're paying them. So let's say we're paying a director.
Director X.
Director X, okay? We want to pay him $7 grand. You make their range $5 grand to $7 grand. They can't exceed 7. It's that simple. So
But
you
that's not
always-
what they're asking to do.
No, we did
No,
not say
that's-
that.
Hold on.
We're asking
Let's-
for a range, and you're right, it
I
could be.
think that you make the max rate, listen, I'm not paying this guy a dime more than $100 and a penny. The max is 101. It's just like any
I have no
other,
objection to that.
you know, and that's what you do. So it's not like, well, we want to pay
Mr.
X
Cascio,
100.
they can't
Okay.
hear you upstairs.
I'll move that.
Sorry, just.
No problem. Hello? Okay. Make the range the max you want to pay the person, and then you can always make it 10%, 20% lower. But if you say this person's only getting 12, you make it 12, and that's it, not a penny more, because they can't exceed it. no
That's a
matter what the
range, that's just looking at
Okay?
it.
So you set the
One way.
max, the
That's-
max that you
Yeah,
want.
but they could-
And then it's the mayor's discretion, or the administrator's discretion to lower that.
It's
Well,
exactly
while
what you're saying.
I understand the concept, the concern I have there is the idea of the range is if somebody leaves a position and we need to replace them, that range could go down, it could go up, depending on what the market bears. So that's the real reason for the range. It's not about.
That's not
it's
the
Can
way
I
it's
finish?
designed.
No,
The way it's designed is that you have, your budget is X, you can't exceed X. Okay?
can I finish my point? My point
Sure,
is,
man.
there's two components to this. One would be the salary ordinance. That allows for the range, okay? Which again, might go up or down if somebody leaves the position. Part two to that is the resolution. The resolution would set the exact dollar amount that cannot be exceeded,
Unless it's come back.
unless you come back with another resolution.
Right.
Right, so it locks.
Because
it
if
up.
So you're still
Somebody's
locked
job.
into the number.
You're still locked at the top of the range, correct?
It locks at whatever
No, you-
number you're paying them.
Right. So it might be mid-range, it might be
agreed to
near
pay
the
them.
top,
They can't just move it without coming back and us knowing about it again, just because we have a
That's not
range.
true.
You're talking a legal document, ordinance. The ordinance cannot be exceeded, okay, for the year, because you already put the money in.
Right,
So what Mr. Togo's saying is if let's just use the simple numbers, use $10,000. We set a range from 8 to 10, okay? Minimum, max is 10. You can't come back and say, listen, I'm gonna pay this guy 1001. It's not gonna happen, no matter what he does with the resolution or what they wanna pay them. And that's our job. So whatever the range is, okay? You have a guy, just like in business, you have a guy he comes into the business and he's been there for a couple years, so he has some experience, he doesn't have a lot of experience, but he's not a newbie either. So you pay him around 9. We're going with that 8 to 10 range, right?
Right.
You guy that's fresh out of school, you're paying him 8.
Correct.
You got a guy who's been doing it for 20 years, you're gonna pay him 10, but no more than 10.
correct.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Right, and that's what I
Okay?
thought you were
And
trying to say.
I don't think that's what Mr. Togo's saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You set a range, don't focus on the person, focus on the position.
That's what I thought you
Okay.
were saying, exactly
So
what Steve just said.
the salary ordinance focuses on the position. The resolution focuses on the individual.
Not to exceed the range, correct?
Well,
Not to exceed the high end of the range.
But how do you
No, no,
pay?
they-
Your
they-
resolution-
Sort of. They're
your
sort of
resolution
saying the
cannot
same thing.
exceed-
It's just semantics at this point.
the ordinance, okay? But you want to leave enough room in your ordinance so you can go up or down depending on,
The need
Right.
and the market.
But if the budget isn't there, how do you create the need by not stealing from Peter to pay Paul?
I don't even understand the question.
If the budget gets approved at 9,000 in the middle of the range, right, we're saying 8 to 10, right? There's no money in the budget to pay a new person 10.
Not necessarily true.
No, because we put 10.
No, we don't put 10 in.
if-
No, we're
if-
saying maybe
let-
you do put 10 in.
Right.
Let's just use as an example what just happened. The CFO left. That position will go unfilled for X amount of days. If you haven't spent that salary, you can give the new person more and not have exceeded the budget line. It's one example, I'm just saying it's one example.
I do understand what
I'm
Mr.
never
Lucetta's
paying
point.
Yeah.
I mean,
than their-
if you have a wide range, you're not gonna budget to the max of the range, but you do want to give yourself a little bit of room in the event that, there's movement throughout the year.
But if there's movement throughout the year, and what what the mayor just said doesn't happen, where somebody resigns and leaves a no salary position, there's no money left in that item.
But that's okay, if there's somebody in that position and this is the salary that they've been given, then yes, they would stay at the salary until the increase happens. Theoretically.
But that's my point. is that
Theoretically.
The money doesn't exist
Correct? Yes
unless,
or no?
unless there's money left in
Correct,
that line
but,
item.
but I'm sorry we're spending so much time on this. Do we want to continue with the budget and we can discuss salary ordinance when it comes up?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, what,
And I'm so sorry that this came up for mayor salary and wage.
Listen, that's all you're getting, Peter.
That's it, right? No range for me.
okay, so what's the decision? Are we gonna try to go through these people and talk about them in not naming them? Or are we gonna,
Council decision.
Can we just be clear on one thing? Even if we only refer them by their title, everyone knows who the person is. Usually only one person in the position.
And that's why Mr.
So
Powell
that-
told us to write.
no,
Right.
no, he didn't. He said to Rice notice of only.
Mr. Tomo just said right,
No, he didn't.
No.
He
Well,
didn't. You're twisting it.
I'm not.
You are,
It's like
because
I said, just discuss it all at one time. So,
But Riceman didn't discuss it, right?
No.
right,
What-
just,
what-
no,
yeah,
why
yeah,
not?
Rice is
Just plain say it, right.
Right.
That's what he's saying,
Yeah, I
Stacy.
am.
I'm not putting words in his mouth.
Okay.
Only because the other flip side of this is, trust me, your employees know that when you're talked about only by subject, they feel they're being attacked. So you know what?
So,
it's.
what's the next, so have we picked another date yet? Have we picked another date yet? We're just up to today. Today's the last date,
No,
right?
I think the only one is next council meeting.
We have one, it'll be on the second conference.
I think we ought to rice everybody, talk about everybody.
What is your comment,
I think we
Mr.
ought to rice everybody for one meeting.
One meeting.
And talk about everybody in one meeting. This is
So
just.
we're going back to where we started.
We've just wasted another half hour
At least,
and
yeah.
gotten nowhere.
So maybe we should just move on. If you agree with how you want to proceed.
No,
on the
okay, so
budget.
let's pick another date so we can send the rights and that'll be the meeting
Well,
that we discuss
that's
everybody.
48 hours, so that's not a big deal,
But we still have to post the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
that'll
let's,
be-
so I wanna pick a
When's the
date.
next meeting
Do it at
supposed
the,
to be?
you know, if that's the one that's holding us up, because that's gonna be the biggest problem we are seeing, let's just knock them off first. The next meeting, we'll do it at the next council meeting at night, and we're done. And then it's done.
But we tried to have a budget meeting
Yeah,
this last
I would
council meeting
disagree.
and that
Make it a
didn't
special
go.
meeting where that's the only thing.
Yeah,
'Cause we were
that's-
10 o'clock at the last meeting, no one felt like
Yeah,
that
Yeah, but we
was
have
budget.
presentations, we
But
including
we don't know if those things are gonna come up yet. That's the problem.
We have to wait till after budget. That's
You
it, yeah.
control the meeting. Is there anything that's super pressing for the next meeting that you know of?
We do have zoning board for the next meeting. We have the zoning board appointment, so yes, we do.
And how long do you anticipate that's gonna take?
To be honest, I could say one thing and it could go completely the other way, so that's the problem.
To do it the following meeting.
Will the closed session?
Well, I was hoping we could pick a date for another meeting and do it then. That's what I was trying to get at.
Or you can just say you're gonna do it at another meeting, you don't need the date right this second.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Let's keep rolling. We got 3 hours to roll.
Okay, okay.
I'll put another date.
2:45.
What?
We don't have 3 hours, we have 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Okay, 2 hours and 45 minutes. You're right.
And you have the police
You're
coming at
absolutely
noon,
right.
so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we're on page 4, mayor's budget.
I'm bringing the space heater, just saying. I'm gonna add that to the budget.
Or another sweater.
It got cold in here all of a sudden.
It did actually, I thought it was just me.
No.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, do we
Are
want
the
to take a
fans
bio
on
break?
in the
Well, why
back?
don't we take a 5-minute bio break? Okay, because I think we need that.
build a fire in the fireplace?
You want me to know?
Oh, yeah, let him.
Please.
Or you're like the heat miser.
some mints?
No, I guess somebody just, I don't know who gave them to me, but thank you. Thank you, Sue.
Did they fall out of my, no, I've
No, I
got
think-
some more. I got some more, if
Thank
you
you.
need.
All right,
Okay, so we're on page 4, right?
yes.
Okay.
Never got best page.
That's right, we didn't. Okay, so,
Office of the Mayor.
okay, first line item, mayor's salary. So,
I want to write some.
you want,
Look at Bryce, how's that doing?
Only kidding.
Matt, I'm just gonna go, can I have rice? Absolutely not. Okay, so we're going from $10,085, $10,237. It's a 1.5% increase. Are we,
Yes,
vote?
Yes.
I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Yes, okay.
moving
Yeah.
on.
Office supplies, nothing. Okay. Subscriptions and books, nothing.
Well,
No, there's
Oh,
$50.
50, sorry,
Yeah.
$50.
$50.
Sorry. $50 for, can we do both lines, the office supplies and
No, you
subscriptions?
have to do one line at a time.
Oh, we do, okay.
Good with it.
Okay,
I'm good with it.
Everybody good with it?
Okay.
Good, Good.
okay.
Next.
Subscription of books?
I'm gonna go this way. Does anybody have any objections to approving subscriptions and books?
No.
No.
No. Okay, good deal. Okay, dues, meetings, and conferences, $18.50.
Good.
Okay.
Anybody objections? All
No.
good? Okay, good to go.
Fine.
Training, no money in training.
Good.
Printing, no money.
Good.
Miscellaneous, I believe,
Yeah, that should be 300 recommended also. It was just a typo.
okay, so are
So
we
we're
good
gonna
with it?
go with 300, yes?
Good.
Okay.
Steve?
Tro- Trophies, and I believe that we split this line, but if I looked
Cor-
correctly,
correct.
with the,
Yeah, since we always do things jointly with plaques and trophies, it's 600 for me and 600 for the council.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with this, everybody good?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
So the total is the total.
Okay, so we're good with the total, it should be 13,087 with the $300 increase that should be on the recommended line.
Correct.
Okay, so.
That's the corrected line. You're
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so we're good to go. Everybody good? Good. Okay, township salaries and wages. So next line is township council salaries and wages.
This has been adjusted, Mr. Cholo, to include Mr. Cumming receiving his full year, whatever it was.
This is what was
It's-
submitted to me
it's-
by the clerk.
And I did the math, it's 5 times the max.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm good.
Councilman Cassiano.
I
31.
always like to take zero, but, you know, I always get voted for the last 9 years not to take a salary, but you got it.
Okay.
31,407, right?
Yep,
Right.
31,407. Next.
Thank you.
Okay. Other expense, office supplies, $100. Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay, council postages should be 0 like it is.
This
Subscription-
line comes out now,
Wait,
right,
wait,
Sue?
I think it has to stay, it stays, which is just 0.
5, it's 0.
I
zero.
don't
It should
have
fall off
anything
next
at
year.
all.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
0.
this comes off next year. The next year it'll come off.
It's a zeroed out.
So it gets
We don't mail anything.
deleted.
No, but we're actually putting postage into one line now. Come on, Sue. Okay, subscriptions and books, $100. I'm good.
Good?
Yes.
Anybody? Okay.
No, good.
All right, meetings and conferences, 2,800. I'm good.
All right.
Well, before you say you're
Yeah.
good, we didn't know how many, if you plan on attending the league conferences or not, so if you do,
I would like to attend the league
I
conference.
increased to hopefully,
It's in November, correct?
yes.
yes.
I was planning to go to the league
What
conference.
is it
this year.
approximately per head, Sue, do you remember offhand? Because I know in the past, only 2 or 3 people have
About,
gone.
what, $350 a head? That's for the hotels, the conference registration is usually 50. So I use about $350, $375 to cover everybody.
So last year's been 1,754, so another 700 if 2 more people go,
That's
so.
20. You got
yeah.
plenty in there.
Okay.
I'm
I
okay
think we're
with it.
good.
Yeah, okay.
Tried to come.
I didn't
Yeah.
go last year, but I want to go this year, and I think that's why it's 17.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't go last year.
Yeah.
So it was, that's why it's 17, so is that enough?
Yeah, because you got
Well, because they
350.
increased it to 20.
2,800 is enough.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah, 22.
Well,
Are we approving 28?
We're approving 28.
well, 17 covered only 2 people, then should you double it to cover 4 people, it sounds like?
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, let me see, let's get that.
What number do you want to make?
Well, was there other conferences in there? Because if it's 350 per
It's
person,
the
it's like,
council, I think the only one that's attended is the league, right? No, the training,
Yeah, that's
right?
all.
So if 2 people went last year and it's like 300, so is it more than
I mean, I'm just
350?
saying that, but hold on. let me
Okay.
see.
It just, because if they said 350, just want to make sure we're not.
That might be on my side, I think, of you too. Let's see. 111, 250, 111, 250. All right, there was
I think it's
Tuesday,
page
the
14.
dues. Hotel reservations were 344. No, 344, it looks like there were 2. No, that's the mayor, hold on. On the wrong page.
That's 250.
111, 250. Oh, the 110, sorry.
Oh, 759 is our membership dues. So-
Right, it's included in there. And then
Yep.
the hotel was 516 for
Should we make it 3?
2.
Because if I do the math correctly,
It's 750, yeah, it's roughly 750, 780 for the 3 of them. So we can increase it then if you need to.
do you think,
Yeah.
let's do the math really quickly.
Because I didn't know who all was gonna be going either.
All right, so we have $800 in dues, right? And then each person for the league, that was 516. 165.
That's a lot.
1460. I think if we make it 31, we should be covered for 4 people to go to the league. What do you, does anybody else want to check my math? Not really.
I have faith in you.
I had said 774 for the league, and then I bumped it up to 2,800. That's where I got the number from. So this
Maybe
was other
30,
classes to go
maybe
to.
32. If we don't spend it, it's not going anywhere. So what do you think, what is the council's opinion of 32?
Fine.
Motion to increase it to 32?
Yes, ma'am.
Who will be motioning, please?
I'll motion.
Second?
Second.
What, anybody want to discuss this? I just added it up. I mean, it's, okay, let's have a vote.
Councilman Cassio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes?
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Yay, we worked together. Good job. Okay. It was easy. Okay, professional services is the next line. I actually was going to recommend to decrease the 5,000 to 2,500.
I have an issue with the 2019 appropriate actuals. Mr. Tovo, it shows that a check was cut to Mr. Chaconis and it was never voided.
It has been voided now. The time this was run, it was not yet voided.
Okay.
Because that, we talked to, because it was voided because of the fine and the problem with the SOW. It was voted post 2019, okay?
But the check was cut on December 13th and it doesn't show that it was put back.
I don't
Could you
think-
just get back to us when the void date was?
I can't.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we want to table this, or do we want to move forward with the budget, even though so since we know the check's been cleared? Does anybody want to,
The check's been cleared?
the check's been voided, sorry. The check's been, that we cleared the issue up with where the check is now.
I recommend we leave it alone. We leave
For
it
the
at
5,000?
No, we leave it at 10,000.
So this is other services outside, so this would be other legal counsel, other accounting. Why do you want to leave it at 10?
Because it's there if we need it.
Okay.
Can you use that argument for all line items?
I think we should leave it either at 5 or make it 2,500, because they.
Well,
we
it's
have-
10,000 now, so it's gonna, either we leave it at, the mayor recommended we lower it to 5. That was his recommendation.
And it's just
Right.
because I didn't know what was planned for
So
even 5 of
Do we
it.
have a plan for the 10?
Well, we had one last year and it got overridden, so that's fine, but it's,
But do we have a plan now? Forget about last year.
once we lower it, it's hard to bring it back up if we need it, Stacy, that's the only thing.
I completely understand that from
And
budgetary.
it's something that you never know if you're gonna need or not, and it'll just roll into surplus the year after.
I'm gonna copy what Bob said. Can we use that logic for all the line items?
Okay, anybody else want to leave it or lower it? So far, it's only me and Mike saying we'd
Why
like
don't you
to.
just make it 0?
Make it
We
zero.
didn't use it in 2015.
Yeah, I don't even know why it's there.
We didn't use it in 2019, even though we had it, and we budgeted 7 in 18.
We
We
only used 5.
So just get rid of it. We're not gonna go out for any special services, we're not really allowed to do it, so
Well, that's why I said 2,500 just as a
knock it
small.
off. Just get rid of it. Save the
Wait,
taxpayers $5,000.
I wouldn't say
Taxpayers.
you're not allowed to do it. You are allowed to do it.
I agree with Steve. Save the taxpayers the $5,000.
I'm okay with making it zero. Make it zero then.
I don't,
We can find the money if we need it.
I'm a little,
Trust me, you can always find money if you want. There's a lot of padding in this budget, the way it's presented. You're up almost $800,000. So if you gotta pull money from somewhere, you can pull it.
Do you want to vote on zero?
wait, we're only at 400,000.
400,000, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm
Well,
like, Jesus, where'd
yeah.
that come from?
You're
I had,
you're up 800 if you
Wait a second.
include outsourcing of the trash,
hold on a second.
which that will be,
Hold on.
that will be an exact repay to the residents who are laying it out of their pocket.
For some reason, I got 600,000. I'm not a math major, so
Yeah, but
that's what I had. So anyway, I think if you really need it, you can get it somewhere else, make it zero. That's my recommendation.
I think 2,500 just so, if we, again, it'll roll into surplus.
What do you?
Yeah, and I just want the public to know, 400 of that is for
Why not?
trash for the second half of the year. Should we decide to outsource it, the public will not be paying their own trash anymore, so that's quite an increase, but it's a direct saving to every taxpayer in town.
Right. Everyone wants that, so.
Yeah, we just have to see how the pricing comes in.
All right, so
So
2,500.
my recommendation is zero.
I'm saying
You can second
2,500.
or not.
I'll second zero.
Okay, so can we have a vote on zero? You really don't, sorry, just, you really don't think just making it 2,500 just for, in case of emergency?
What do you anticipate?
But the thing is I don't, but I think 10 is way too high, 5 is, and I think 2,500 is a safe amount of money.
If you anticipate something, I'd say you can put 25. I don't anticipate anything. In past experience, stuff that's post 215, never used it.
No, but they did use 50, what, do you know, what did we use 5,700 for in 2018? Does anybody remember?
I think it was.
Oh, wait, it's got it, well, no, we have 19 in
19,
here.
Yeah, right, 19
Okay.
on it. We take a vote on zero, like we just?
Yeah, let's
Ready?
take a vote on zero.
Okay. Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
No.
Council President Feeney.
No.
Zero it is.
Okay, next line item is travel expenses are 0, and then we've got furniture and equipment for the council is 6,000, is requested, and Bayer's recommending, administration's recommending 1,000. Do we have a plan, Mr. Chobo, do we have a plan for the 6,000, or was it new something?
Well, in 2018, the 6,000 was for the new chairs on the dais, and in 19, that was for other chairs and the new flags on the dais. Not knowing if there was a plan for 20, we recommended a lower amount because in years prior to 18,
He was spent
the money
anything.
wasn't spent. So not knowing if there was a plan, we just lowered it so we could discuss it.
We don't need new flags, were we planning on anything else, any other changes in this room?
I'm okay with 1,000.
I'm okay
Well-
with 1,000, oh, go ahead.
We don't need new flags, but I don't know if Stigma Free is a line on itself. I don't think there's anything in here for that,
That's-
but
Should be, I think, on the Board of Health, I think.
where does the flag money come from? Because we don't have that yet.
For a flag, because we have a banner, we found the banner.
Yeah, but we don't have a flag, like, that's something
We
that.
can put that in the Board of Health.
That's not a bad
budget.
idea, let's put,
Okay.
You mean a flag like for over there?
It's a flag that
An
flies.
outdoor flag, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good with 1,000 if we don't, if the chairs have been replaced, the flags have been replaced. Was there anything else prior to Desiree and I getting here that you wanted to do?
I'm okay with 1,000.
Mr. Casio?
Yeah, I guess so. You don't need any chairs.
No, we're good. Mr. Cummings, are you good with 1,000?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go with, since, I have a question, since requested is 6,000 and recommended is 1,000, do we need to take a vote on what amount we need to do, or are we good just saying 1,000?
Vote on the recommend.
We're voting on the recommend.
The rest of the request doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so we're voting on the recommend. Let's vote.
Okay, who's motioning?
I'll motion.
Second. Aye.
Yes.
Councilman
Yes?
Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Kine.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So no printing this year. Miscellaneous is $300. Could you just, what's miscellaneous? Just curious.
Whoa. Council consulting.
The zero ones. You skipped over those if you want to. The bottom of page 6.
Oh, I'm
Sounds like
sorry.
coming in
I'm
second.
sorry. Consulting and non-legal is 0. Okay. Printing, 0, and then miscellaneous is 300. I'm good with the 300 for miscellaneous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good. Okay, the next one is, this is the split line with the mayor for trophies and plaques. We already agreed to that on his side. What about this side?
Understood.
Sure.
All right, grand total, so we're gonna be at 9,000, actually, no, we're not. We're gonna be at 4,900. I'm sorry, 41,307 minus.
You took out 5 and you added, and you took it down, you added 4. 400.
And you say you're no good at math.
I estimate. Close enough.
Okay, moving on.
So what did we come to? Just wait, so we came to 4307.
Do you have to vote on the control once you
No.
voted on all the
No,
line
I'm
items?
just, I'm
No.
I'm just trying to keep you
No, we're
moving
not.
along also,
No,
but
we
don't
just
get me wrong.
update the total. We
Right.
would just
Yeah.
automatically
just-
update the total.
I'm keeping track, so we get the final, I can just confirm it. Okay. Township clerk. Okay, salary increase, 1.5%. I'm good. Everybody good?
I have one thing to add into that, though. I had amended my budget. Mr. Tolman and I spoke about this morning. The only thing that I would like to propose to the council, if it's to be considered, please, is any meeting that is over 24 meetings, I would like to request $150 a meeting. Last year, we had 40 meetings. This year, we're not at 24, I think we're at like 16, the way our schedule goes, but just in case as we go around through the year.
How many did we have last year?
We had 40 meetings last year. Special meetings and that, so that would be the only thing I would ask for anything different.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
We might not even hit it, but just in case,
I think we estimated right, so that we're probably not gonna hit it anyway.
and
So
that's fine too.
you want to add that amount into this, or you want to create a separate line
How many
item?
meetings?
I'd say
How many?
create it separate, because it's gonna get
Right.
confusing if you added it here.
I agree, yep.
But
So-
how many meetings are we gonna plan for? 10 meetings? Would that be a safe number?
No, we're talking, I think we already talked.
16,
We talked
well, she had
16
40.
already, she wants, and
But last year you
excess
had-
of 24.
Right, but you had 40. I'm thinking you had 40 last year. So I don't know, do we have to come up with a number. So how many
So
meetings?
put 10 in there or 14 in there, so, 16, and then it gets you to
No, I'm
40.
just saying, anything over 24.
So,
Yeah.
right, but if,
But we gotta put a budget line in
Yeah,
there,
I think
so
let's put $1,500 in,
that's 10 meetings, yeah.
10 meetings. What do you guys think?
But it should be a separate line, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Sounds good.
So we'll call it additional, would that be a stipend then per meeting? How would that work?
It's kind of just
Yeah.
like a planning
Like a
board
manager.
secretary. She
Yeah, okay.
has special, whenever she attends a meeting, and so.
So what
It's-
would it
It's,
be called?
it's not a stipend, it's just, it's
Exactly.
included in pay.
Okay.
Stay away from the stipend because
Yeah.
it'll hurt pension wise.
Right.
Yeah, right,
Mhm.
that's why I was asking, how
Yeah.
do we clarify that?
We'll just
So-
call it
So,
an
a
additional
special meeting fee, yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
additional meeting
It's
fee.
$150 per meeting, okay.
Okay, so $1,500, could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Sue, vote please for the additional meeting fee of $150 per meeting for 10 meetings and $1,500 for the line item.
Excuse me, can you put a name on Ryan, I'm sorry, what would you like to name it?
Additional meeting fee. Additional council meeting fee, let's make sure we clarify which one it belongs with,
Absolutely.
so that we don't have an open,
So you'll remind us to put that in the salary ordinance when the time comes?
Okay,
Thank you.
sure,
Okay.
why not?
When you're ready, Sue, we have a
Okay,
motion ready.
Councilman, Casio. Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes.
Thank you.
You'll give it a, Edmonds will give it an account number, right?
We'll have to manually do it.
Okay, so, okay. Okay, so right now,
You're at 120.
yeah, no, I was just looking for the.
Controls on the bottom of button 9.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, so we did these, and the next one is the assistant to the clerk. There was is there a correction? So we're at 35,000, 1.5% increase?
I'm okay.
No.
No, that's above 1.5%.
That's 1.5.
That's above.
The 33,743 was a 1.5. When the mayor and I reviewed it, we felt 35 is more appropriate to get closer to market.
So you're recommending 35,000,
35.
which is, and the reason again was to get, she's at 29.
Market, now that she's gone full-time, that's a market price.
So she's now full-time, before she
Correct.
was,
Part-time until October 1st.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with the 35,000, the increase, and she's full-time now.
Yes.
Anybody else for discussion?
Nope.
Okay, can I have a vote, please, for the 35,000?
Okay.
We have a motion.
Second, who's motion?
Second.
No, who's motioning?
I'll
Oh,
motion,
I'm
sorry.
sorry, I didn't hear you say that.
That's okay.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Assistant to the clerk overtime.
No.
Oh, there's nothing. Okay, she's salary now. Okay.
And after, what did we say, 4 years, 5 years it comes off? 5 years.
Okay, so we're gonna be plus this plus 15, so. Township clerk, other expense, office supplies, $1,200, was $1,400 spent last year, so we're recommending 2,000.
What's this note, Bob? Electronic timestamp for all departments?
Oh, yeah, we need to buy a new electronic timestamp, because the clerk uses it more so than the other departments.
And ours is like 20-some odd years old, and you have to rewind.
Oh, this is just a
the ribbon.
timestamp for when you get
Yeah.
bids and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we meant like for employees to.
Oh, no.
No,
One
Punch
spot.
Above, no.
You thought that too?
I did
That's,
too.
okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I have an estimate on it, it's under state contract, we have to roll the ribbon back to get ink, it's time.
So, and then, so we're saying 2,000?
Yeah, well, that's about $700, so that's just, that I was asked to put into my budget, so that's why it went from $1,200 to $200.
Okay, could I have a motion for 2,000, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second.
Sue?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay. Again, postage line was consolidated, subscriptions and books, 225, I'm okay, everybody okay? Okay, dues, meetings and conferences, 2,000, I'm good?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, office equipment repair, 475, is this low compared, because my concern is that, I know in 2018 there wasn't any money spent, but in 2019 you spent $1,100 on this.
Oh, this is, I think, the recording. I think this is the maintenance on the recording.
Are we going to be in the same position that we need to bump it up to $1,000?
Office equipment and repair.
So so the maintenance agreement, my question in this is that, is this maintenance agreement that we paid for last year, are we gonna have the same expense for the, because the maintenance agreements is every year? Is it gonna be, so the 475 isn't even gonna cover the cost of the maintenance agreement?
The maintenance agreement was 1132 last year.
Right,
And what
and
we
they're-
did was, we divided between 3 different departments.
There still might be,
That's
correct.
why, it's the same amount, but it's divided over 3 departments now,
Right.
which is where it should be.
Yeah, but is that still,
So it's between the clerk's department, what are the two departments?
Planning and zoning and
And the
court.
court.
So you're dividing it by 3.
Right, and that's where the 475 comes in.
Okay,
All right,
I'm
then
okay
that
with
makes
that.
more sense. Okay.
good.
Okay, everybody good with this one?
Yes.
Okay. The next one is mileage stipend, $600.
Good.
Okay. Everybody good? Okay. Township clerk furniture and fixtures, we have so last year spent $17.52, and this year requesting $2,000. I'm okay with it since for the clerk's office.
Again, it's largely copier expense.
Everybody good?
I'm sorry, Bob, what did you just say?
It's for the copy.
Copier.
Largely for the copier.
It's all RICO entries last year, that's
Right.
all it is.
Advertisements, public notice, $4,000. We spent $2,100 last year. I know the budget's been $4,000. I think,
We dropped it to
That's
3
what
for
we
did.
recommended.
can I have a vote on 3?
I'm okay with the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Have a motion
and
for-
second?
I'll second.
I think everyone said we're good.
Councilman Casio?
Yeah?
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes?
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Sorry. Training, $1,500. I'm okay with it.
So who's going?
Why?
This is for Cornelia's classes,
Okay.
and she might end up just, doing one like she did last year with scheduling with her family stuff. We might not even use it all.
I'm good with
How
1,500.
many classes is that by?
2.
2? Okay.
Okay, I'm okay with it.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Township code publication, this is for code 360, correct, Sue?
Yes.
Okay, so you have 10,000 in, and this is due to, I'm assuming updates and things that are gonna have to be done?
Yeah, it's just the automatic that it all gets put in and gets codified, and we seem to be on like a 1.5 year kind of cycle. I'd like to get through all of this year and pull up the rest of last year to get us to January to December instead of
So
18 months.
do we have enough in there to absorb the change for DMF?
That I was thinking of this morning.
That also.
I was thinking of that this morning, so I want to just double check that figure to make sure that there is enough in
I
there.
don't think
Table
we
that.
do.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
because I was thinking of that, thank you.
See what it is.
So I will get back to you on that one.
Okay, township clerk printing, we spent $1437 last year, I know only $559, but if it was $1437 last year, based on the expenses that I see, should it be $1,500 this year?
This was, I believe, part of my copy expenses were in there, am I correct?
No, I thought the copier lease
No,
was
but
up
they
top.
they broke me out because I'm always
It's all
over.
Yeah.
those overages, Sue,
Yeah.
come on.
I need them,
Yeah, the whole thing was your copier expenses, RICO.
Yeah.
It's all RICO.
so I think Judy had broken it out so that we saw what the extra copies were compared to what my regular lease is.
So
there
should
was
we
a better
leave it for
fee.
15, should we change it to 1,500?
Well, it depends on with the copier, Mr. Toker and I were talking about that even this morning, because I would like to.
Can we
swap it
recommend
out.
putting 1,000 there? We're looking at moving some copiers around,
I'm good with
consolidating
1,000.
some.
Can I make a quick suggestion, is since we have 2 line items that seem to deal with copier, 0 one out, and put it in the other?
I don't know if you can, because one's a lease,
Okay.
and the other one's at a true expense
Okay.
that would hit. I don't know
Okay.
from an accounting perspective if we actually can.
Okay.
But I will say, part of that printing fee is also for DebCor, who does our commuter tags, my envelope, general printing kind of stuff too.
So I'm recommending 1,000 for this line. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second? For 1,000 for this line for printing.
Second.
Sue, can we have a vote, please?
Councilman Casio?
No.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
So is the copy expenses still gonna be in there? Or we don't know if they're gonna be in there?
Well, right now, this line item appears to be a combination. Some overages on the copies are being charged to here, and real true printing, like business cards or items like that are being charged here. We have a complete packet of information on changing over of the copiers, so there's gonna be some movement here during the year. We hope ultimately to consolidate and bring the cost down.
Because the only two true expenses other than copiers I see in there are the depth core for $300. Those are the only two expenses that don't involve the Rico copy machine. So,
Right, so my point is, until we get this resolved and get the right copier combination and servers along with it, we probably want to keep a little bit of money in there just so we don't go over.
I'm okay with the 600, so no.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes.
You got the three, it's going up. You got
Yeah,
three
it's going
keep
to
up.
1,000, yeah.
It's an increase.
Yep. $400. Okay, miscellaneous. So $150, I'm okay with that?
I'm okay with it.
Okay,
All right.
so.
Madam President?
Yes.
After elections, do you want to stop so we can have the police come in and say?
Yes, that sounds good. There's not that many items here, so.
No.
Okay, so we're now on to the elections department. Salaries, $950, same as last year, I'm good.
Fine, good.
Okay, office
Leave it as
supplies,
that.
nothing.
Yeah.
Postage is 11's up top. Ballots, 10,000, I'm good with that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, anybody have a problem with that? Okay. Miscellaneous is 1,000,
Okay.
okay? Good job. Okay, let's do,
Did you cover the lunches or whatever?
That's in there, that
Yeah.
miscellaneous.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
let's-
that's what I thought.
let's take a 5-minute break before the police come in, and then they'll be in 5 minutes. And just so everybody knows, the police are on page.
What would you like to do?
31.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, page 31, okay.
Many thanks.
First line item, salaries other than chief. So last year was 2.3, 2,363,202.92. This year requested is 2,750,000.
So we're looking at the increase, hopefully this contract with the 12s. We do have, we're currently interviewing for 2 promotions, an additional sergeant and an additional lieutenant, which are in the TL.
Chief?
Yes.
Can you speak up just a little bit more, bring the microphone
Bring the
just a
microphone
little
closer.
closer?
Yeah, so we worked these numbers up, actually, thank you to Chief Hooper for helping us before he left. We're figuring the increase for the 12-hour shifts, which should start this year. We, had officers that retired that were replaced, but now we want to replace the ranks. So we have an additional lieutenant and a sergeant that gets added into the base salary.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Any council members have any questions?
How much is that increase due to the change to the Pittman schedule?
It's gonna be roughly 150 to 160,000.
Increase over last year?
Yeah.
What happens is, there are 2,400 more additional straight time hours
Okay.
that are being paid for through that. So it's, in other words, when you put the whole, the department together as a total, each guy is working 128 hours more in 2020 as opposed to 2019.
Gotcha.
And for the new council members, prior to this year, the officers did not work a 40-hour work week.
Okay.
So now they are.
And that number's gonna come down we anticipate the overtime and all
Yes.
that, right? By at least that amount? Is is that correct?
We do, and I'll tell you, we budgeted $160,000 for overtime, and that was a decision we made. You know, I don't want to make any promises, but I think we're going to come in at under that 160, but being the first year, we were asking for, you know, essentially a little less than we spent in overtime last year.
Okay.
Last year, you know, if you look at the overtime numbers, last year we significantly cut overtime. You know, we had 240 the year before.
Right.
We had 150 that we budgeted. We went to 162. With that 160 that we're asking right now to budget for overtime, we're hoping to, you know, come under that.
Okay.
Just don't want to cut it short.
And that was without the contract being really implemented, so now that we've implemented it, you know, we should see.
How's the 2-month look
So
ahead
far,
look?
positive.
No, with overtime versus last year, the January and February versus.
January, February are typically
I know,
months
but,
anyway.
correct, but is there any
yes,
tracking
it's-
numbers we can?
Yes, and
It's
it's slow.
We actually just discussed the numbers. I don't have them in front of me.
Okay.
But AJ's like, wow, the overtime numbers are really low, and I'm like, they are, and I think we're doing better, but you gotta remember, nobody takes off in January and February either.
Understandable, Chief, but it's
Vacation.
just, I was just curious, you know, just the correlation, January 2019, January 2020, February 2019, you know, so it's
Right.
definitely gone down.
Definitely gone down, yeah.
Quality of life, too.
There's one more factor also that, for retro pay from 2019, has to come out of that line item to the best of my knowledge, and that retro pay for the department, because we were out of contract in 2019, once the contract settled, that number's gonna hover between 36,000 to 40,000, has to come out of that line item, so that also accounts for the increase.
Comes out of that overtime?
No, the
or
No, it
salary?
comes out of the
Salary line.
salary.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have any more questions.
I have no problem with this.
Right, okay, so can I have a motion to approve the salary other than chief line?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue, can I have a motion, please? Can you take, vote, please?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cummings,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, if we don't have any more questions on the overtime, I'd like to take a vote on that. I'm good with the 160, especially since it's the first year with the Pittman.
Any objections to putting it at 150 again?
No.
I see no problem.
Yeah, honestly, I think 150 is good. It's just, if we have this meeting on December 25th, and
I understand, but
I
but
think
are we
150
comfortable,
would.
are we comfortable lowering it to 150 again, Chief? And
I think
Well,
so.
I mean, for the 10,000, not to leave it so we don't have to move money around, I mean, if we.
No,
don't
we're
spend
hoping
it-
it's gonna come even under 150.
No, I
so-
understand that, but to leave the 160 as is, as they're asking for.
I'm asking, well, I just asked the question if they were okay with going back to 150.
Listen, honestly, I'd be comfortable with that. I don't, you know, I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna make that 150?
I don't know, it's up to
Okay, we vote.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Anybody else
I'll
have any?
second, I'll second it for 150.
Well, I was just putting, see if anybody else wanted to discuss the 150 first. Desiree or Councilman Morgan or Councilman?
For 10,000 and so on, I don't see the point in changing it.
Me neither.
Okay, there's a motion.
I would leave it at 160.
Okay, so we have a second motion. Let's call a vote on the 150.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cummings,
No.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
No.
Council President Feeney.
No. Can I have a motion for a vote on 160?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay.
Sue?
I don't know, do you need a vote for 160 since it's in here?
I think since we should have take a vote, please.
Okay. All right, I'm getting 160 in here. I'm sorry, so Stacy, you motion it?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cummings,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, crossing guards. Requested is 67.5, administrator is recommending 70. Is that for any reason for the increase? The recommendation on the increase is?
To the best of my knowledge is, if you'll see, the crossing guard salaries over the last couple of years have been steady. Last year, there was an increase in summer rec activity,
Oh,
so
okay.
we stationed a crossing guard over there for summer rec. Hopefully, this year, we're gonna still have a crossing guard over there for summer rec, but we'll be able to use the SLEO 2s that we hired over there.
Okay.
So some of the expense of crossing kids for summer rec will come out of the SLEOs.
So that's why you're only at for 70 then?
Right, that's why we asked for the 70.
Because that was my question, why 72 to 70? Okay, I'm good with the 70.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Councilman DeSena, good or questions?
Yeah, no, but
Okay. Okay, vacation buyback, 40,000 from 65 prior year. What's the, because, is this because of the,
We don't know with the 12-hour shifts. That's the bottom line, is we don't know. Guys are gonna get more days off, they're working more hours, but we don't know what that's gonna translate to by the end of the year.
I think if I can just give you a little historical on that, you know, if you look, vacation buyback always varies. It depends, you know, if everybody's healthy and there's not a lot of sick time, guys take their vacation time. But then if somebody's out sick for a period of time, guys might take less vacation time because they want to stay and work the overtime. So it's always a variable. And I think one other thing that got involved with our vacation buyback going up was, as you know, you guys were gracious enough 2 years ago to increase our training budget. And one of the effects of increasing the training budget is we're sending cops for more training. Generally, we try to get them to take time back, time off when they go to training. But it does then sometime leave them with more vacation time. In other words, if I sent Steve and Mike to a class on their day off, we're not paying them, we're gonna give them another day off, but then that's a day off they might not take as a vacation day. So I think it was kind of a consequence maybe we didn't fully foresee, but I think we're managing it well, and I think we can articulate how important training is. So I even think that 40,000 number is gonna be kind of cutting it close, we just don't know. But I think since we haven't made cuts in other spots, there's a little flexibility there, so that's how we came up with the 40.
We also didn't allow them to be carried over.
Right, we
ended that.
we ended the practice of carrying their time over.
So vacation time at the end of the year, if the officer didn't use it, used to be converted to comp time, carried over to the first quarter of the following year. And when we took over, increasing scrutiny on the contract didn't call for vacation time to be handled that way, so we made it clear to the officers that they had to cash it in, it would not be carried over, so that would account for the increase as well.
okay, I'm good with the 40,000. Anybody have any issues with the line? Okay. Personal day buyback, 4,000. I mean, since it's commensurate with last year, I'm good. Or you're actually requesting
Requesting a little more.
4,500, sorry.
We actually spent 4.
Yeah. If you spend 41 to 45, I'm good. Anybody
I'm
have
good.
any?
So we're doing 45, yes, yes.
Okay, sick day payout, last year was 35, this year requesting 38.
Do you need to have a motion on that one since it's a recommendation of 45?
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry. Back at the personal day buyback. Request was 4,045 because weren't you doing that anyway? What was the recommendation and increase? Motion?
just wait 1 second.
Fine.
On budget things, I don't remember you recusing yourself from budget
Okay, we're gonna
things in
take
prior
we're gonna
years,
take
right?
a 4-minute break.
Oh,
4-minute
Yes,
break?
he did last
Yeah.
year and the year before.
No, I
On all
didn't.
budget items? I don't
no, I
think so.
didn't.
Just salaries, right?
Right.
I guess salaries would be appropriate.
I agree.
Salaries.
I think he accused himself on
General-
salaries.
Right, yeah.
General salaries.
Okay, we're back on. Okay, Councilman Cummings is going to recuse himself for salaries, correct?
Well, just revote again.
Yeah, we're gonna revote on the salary line.
Right, the salary other than the chief, then we're gonna have to vote on that,
Yes,
correct?
salaries other than the chief.
Motion?
Yeah.
So moved.
I'll second. Sue?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cummings?
Recuse.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have to do overtime too now? and-
Yeah, I would think so.
And we need to do the next,
Couple of things.
next 2 lines, actually.
And
So,
vacation buyback.
police overtime, we have a motion?
So moved.
Right, were you doing on the 160 or the 150? Is it
We're
150?
doing-
1/6.
No,
160.
120.
Line 120.
120. We're
We
doing.
just don't want to, you don't want to entertain going to 150 as the gentleman said they were okay with it?
I'm good with 160. I'd like to leave it at 160.
Okay, we're gonna do a motion on the one, you
We're
don't
gonna do a
wanna
motion
revote?
on 160 for budget line 240-120. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue, vote?
Councilman, Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Recuse.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
and Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, line, do we need to do the crossing guards? No.
No.
We need to do the buyback, though.
Yes, I would
Okay.
think so.
So 240-160, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue, vote?
But it was at 40,000.
Yes, we're voting for the 40,000.
We're all good, okay.
But you didn't
Except Art.
take a roll call or vote on that because it was at 40,000.
I know, but he,
Art has to recuse
Art
himself,
has
so
to
it's not
recuse
all
All
ayes.
right, I see what you're saying, I'm sorry. Motion?
may I have a motion? Okay, second. Sue, vote?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Recuse.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, we need to do the next one, 240-170 personal day buyback. We're at $4,500. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second. Sue, vote?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Recuse.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, the next line, 240-175, police sick day payout. We're at $38,000. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue?
Councilman Casio?
I was gonna ask a question.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I kind of figured you went right ahead. I figured there was a good reason for it. Why are we going up $3,000? What are we looking at? Do you anticipate more?
Yeah, we're just not exactly sure the sick time buyout, and I'll say this, if your sick time buyback goes back, it means we're buying their sick time in use, that's kind of a good thing, it means we're probably not paying overtime, so.
I'm just looking at past prior years, that's all.
Yeah, we just think that, through the past and prior years, now with the 12-hour shifts, they're gonna have a little more benefit time, so in other words, they're really not getting, they're getting paid for that half of the extra time, and the other is time back. So they're working 42 and a half hours a week essentially, average. So they'll get Kelly time. We're just thinking that instead of taking a sick day, they may take a Kelly day and then they're gonna sell their sick time back.
I think simply they're only going to work 181 days a year as opposed to what they were working before.
Yeah.
So the opportunity for sick time is even decreased.
It's a healthier way of working
Right.
too, so the guy shouldn't be as sick. So, they'll get that benefit of not going out sick.
Again, I was just looking at the past.
And the difference is really the percentage increase over the last 2 years, because we're still at 2018 numbers right now, so.
I think the goal would be to max everybody out on sick time buyback, which means we've controlled our sick problem, but
Yeah.
there are times when cops are out sick.
I'm all right with it, I'm all right with it, just the.
Okay. Again, may I have a motion for 240-175 sick day payout, $38,000?
So moved.
I'll-
Second.
Sue, vote?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Recuse.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay.
Nobody recuses like Mr. Cumming does.
Okay, records clerk, 40, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this was part-time previously, and this is now a
She's
full-time
now full-time.
position. So that's why the major increase from 19 to 40,000, to 42, sorry.
She only worked half a year last year.
Okay.
But she's supposed to be working in DMF too. So that's why her salary was split.
Well, that was one of our options, was to work at DMF as well.
No, but I'm saying, last year, we budgeted it that this person would work part-time and for the department and the other half for the DMF.
Right, and what we have discovered worked better is to have my administrative assistant take over the DMF duties, because the police are now putting more work on their administrative assistant, freeing up the command staff to do what a command staff should do, and that's lead their personnel. There will be a role through the new software that will be absorbed by this person in the tracking and fleet maintenance will be something that will be under their control, and so they'll be spearheading that with the assistance of my assistant. So there are still multiple hats being worn here, multiple missions being accomplished. At the end of the day, we're becoming more efficient, and police are doing police duties, and administrative personnel are doing administrative duties.
So my question is, it was requested by the department at 40, and the administration wants 42. Can you justify the $2,000 increase?
I think Councilman Cassidy, you need to speak into your microphone better.
All right.
To be perfectly honest, I believe that might be a typo. I don't recall why we bumped it up.
But I think originally we were thinking about 40,000, and when we spoke to Mr. Tovo, we kind of just said, listen, you know, Leanne is taking on a lot of work. Oh, I'm sorry, the police secretary position is taking on a lot of work, where I think what we're just doing is we want to make sure that we don't lose a person and then have to retrain.
You need to speak up, Chief.
I think the idea was, my idea was that the 2,000 would be a way to keep an employee from leaving to go somewhere else. I think that's not a...
One thing I would like to add, during our search, we had many applicants that filled this role with other departments, and there was nobody below the $55,000 per year range.
So Morgan is 55,000, and we're required 42.
Correct.
To be clear.
So this person will be full-time, police exclusive, correct? No, shared with no other departments.
Well, as I said, some of that software that this person will be responsible for will also cross over into DMF. For example, our fleet tracking. There's a police fleet and our DMF fleet and our fire fleet. One person will be controlling the input there.
She will be controlling it, or
Yeah.
he will, he or she, I don't know, I don't want to say who it is, but they will be.
Yeah, one person will be doing that.
All three departments.
For the fleet, the information will come to one central point and then be put into the system
By this person.
by this person.
But there's
And
not
my
enough
administrative,
room to do more than one person to do that job for whatever,
Well, I
because
mean-
too many cooks.
agreed, but my administrative system will be helping with that as well, because we do want cross-training, so when somebody's out,
Right.
nothing gets missed.
don't
I
have an issue.
was disappointed to learn that it's not my decision, and I don't think council should be involved in personnel decisions, but I found out when I wanted to get my energy management equipment list typed up that your assistant slot would be doing that work, and in my opinion, that slot is already overloaded.
I agree with you.
Seems to handle a lot of business. Not that I would want a confidential police secretary to go anywhere else either. That's a concern. So,
But previously.
You'll
this-
figure it out.
But previously, the person before we hired the new person did this part-time, correct? She was 20 hours a
We
week
had
with
a
you guys.
part-time.
20 hours, and it worked.
She did very
No.
well,
But the role was very limited.
very
I
limited.
should say it worked, but there was things that we wanted to get done.
The job description grew.
Yeah, put it this way.
Can we table this for closed and rice this person, Bob? Would you be okay with that? So we can find out what the change, because I don't,
Well, can we talk about what just in generalities, could you talk about what the current responsibilities are just for the full-time position are
Right,
versus the
so,
part-time? Just responsibilities.
yep, in the past, well, I'll tell you the new additional responsibilities. One of the things that the police records clerk and secretary position does is they're doing the billing.
Chief, you gotta talk into that microphone.
They're doing the billing for outside billing, extra duty. So when I was the captain, I had to create invoices to bill the utility companies. We felt that that was kind of a waste of, not a waste of talent, but kind of you train somebody to be a command leadership position to be checking on their people and to be a leader. Really shouldn't be creating invoices and sending them out.
No, it's
So,
an admin job, yeah.
so she's gotten, this person has gotten involved in scheduling, this person has gotten involved in billing. This person, now that we have Power DMS, instead of us putting a document into Power DMS, this person will put it in there. One of the things that I've done is I'm a big fan of, I tell my cops, stop walking in here and giving me a piece of paper, email it to me. This way I can look it up. If I have to find a piece of paper a month from now, I don't know where it is, but I know where the email is. So when I get paper, I actually give it to the secretary. I have her scan it and put it in a file for me. So, those duties have significantly increased, and I would say that this new position involves more technical work, where the old position wasn't really doing tech work, and a lot less computer work with the old, where we were doing those computer entries ourselves.
And at the end of the day, it's $2,000 here.
But to go a step further with this, I mean, we're talking about multiple positions
Well, I mean,
here,
it's
and
full-time now.
the whole point here is to gain more efficiencies, all right? I think the police have articulated very well, freeing up police officers and executives to do those kind of functions. With the right person in that position, we've gained that efficiency. As far as my administrative assistant taking on the DMF role, that's been very helpful to me, understanding everything that goes on at DMF, because everything comes to one place now. There's no filtering of information. We see it all, we know it all in real time. As far as an overload, I have not seen that. This person works very efficiently, so things are being done better than they ever have been. So,
And in your opinion, based on the experience you've had currently with this person, you feel it's a value add only?
We definitely think it's a value add, and you know, without beating this thing like a dead horse, our responsibilities as police command staff increase every day. You know, we're getting a lot more, guidelines from the Attorney General's office. Those guidelines have to be put out. Guys have to read them. Our police officers, guys and girls have to read them, have to sign off on them. So the administrative task of the police department has really gone up greatly just in the last few years. And frankly, we're trying to bring the police department to a little higher professional level, and we need to spend more time, putting those documents out and ensuring that they're read. That's one of the things that DMS is doing, and she's helping us with that.
Okay, can I have are we good to vote, or do we have any more questions?
Okay.
May I have a motion to vote on the 42,000? I'll second. Sue, can we have a vote?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President King.
Yes.
That's the 42.
42.
Hold on. Okay.
Okay, the public safety director, this is the same as last year. I'm good. Anybody?
Good.
Okay. Sergeant differential. Why, I did have a question on this one. Why is this lower? We spent
Why?
115
Why
last
not?
year. Why 13?
The director?
No, that's,
So, I'm sorry.
no, we're at the top of this one. right?
190.
Aren't we on the director?
No, we did the direction.
We did the director of public safety.
We said it's okay.
Yes.
Oh, listen, I had a comment
Oh,
on
I'm
director.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we kind of blew past that one, I'm sorry, or I'm not keeping up, I apologize. And thank you for your indulgence on changing all my votes to recuses on the appropriate lines. I think, I just wanted to voice the fact that I've never seen a 1.5% increase or any increase on the directors, and I wonder if we would like to consider increasing the director's stipend by a nominal amount, say $100. And would you like to table this and revisit it, or would you like to blow it off, and we should go to the next item, or what
Seems
would
you're
you
right.
like to do?
It's been $12.50 since 2015. It's not a bad recommendation. I mean, $13.50? Does anybody have a problem?
well, we can deal with it when we do the salary ordinance, because it's the same for every director.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
So when that comes up, we can, propose it then.
I'm
But
good.
I think it's better if they budget for it now as opposed, and then salary ordinance will confirm the budget number.
I mean, there has been a change since 2015.
May I propose $13.50
Absolutely.
for this director, in anticipation of discussing them all at your convenience, not hold up the police?
Anybody have any more discussion? Vote, do you want to, or Councilman Cummings, do you want to call for a vote?
May I?
Absolutely.
I motion $13.50, an increase to $13.50.
I'll second. I think she's just, wait 1 second. Mr. Cummings made a motion. Okay.
Oh, I thought something else was going on. I'm
No,
sorry. I'm sorry. Councilman Casio. Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
What is your justification for this, Mr. Cummings? Just because they haven't gotten a raise?
I've never seen a raise for them any time, and a lot of our directors are working as hard as our employees.
Absolutely. But the title comes with that adage that this is only a token of our
Make it
appreciation.
sound sacrificial.
Right, it is. I mean, I know the one director, we should be paying him a full-time salary, and, you know, he gets $12.50 also.
At least one, if not multiple.
Correct, yeah. Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay, next item. Sergeant differential. So again, so you're 13,000 for this year, but 14,115 was spent last year. Is Pittman?
That
covered?
should alleviate that to a degree.
Okay.
Because now we have standardized
We think
response.
the Pittman scheduling would be more efficient, and if there's anybody that doesn't understand what the sergeant differential is, if there's not a uniformed sergeant working on that patrol tour, then the corporal or the senior patrolman that would be in charge that day would receive sergeant's pay for that day. You know, under the 5253, police officers are rotating in different directions. You know, now we have set squads, so in theory, we start every tour off with the sergeant. Now, if that sergeant takes off, then we're gonna pay the sergeant differential.
Okay.
We just think there's gonna be,
Less of
we're
that.
starting off with more, in the past, you would start off with tours that didn't have a sergeant. Now-
So you knew it had to happen?
Right, every
We're gonna
tour
get
now
a
starts with the
guarantee.
sergeant, we're just gonna pay when we.
If he's on vacation, if he or she's on vacation.
You had 3 days every week where you had.
A sergeant differential.
Okay.
Where now you shouldn't unless that
Now you
person.
start with none.
Correct.
I
And
can
then
say,
next year it should be, next year it should
It
be
should
lower.
go down significantly.
I'm signing a lot less of them even the first 2
Yes.
months of the year.
Okay, I'm good with the 13,000. Does anybody have an issue?
I'm okay with that.
Nothing on terminal leave. Special officers, these are the 2 SLEOs, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. I'm good. Okay, so we have a requested at 80 and recommended at 85.
Currently, we have a full-time and a part-time SLEO, 40 hours and 20 hours. That adds up to the 80,000, but what we also do is when we pay the SLEOs, the overtime comes out of that SLEO line item, so we won't be able to use the SLEOs for Town Day, for the summer concerts, because they're, frankly, it's a.
Cost effective.
That's the overtime.
Yeah, and it'll be a full year this year, where last year it wasn't. We only had the full-timer half a year
Yep.
Okay.
from April, and then we had the part-timer from September, so.
Okay.
I'll say that position seems to have been a good idea that we did last year.
Okay.
Okay with it.
Let's have a vote on the 85,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sue?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Just on general conditions, recuse. Because I
Better
don't
safe than
know.
sorry.
I don't know.
Then we gotta go back and redo the record.
Councilman
No,
Casio?
you don't.
Yes.
Nothing
Yes.
else has to be done.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay, police stipends. So we're recommending 2,000.
Oh, you got your DoorDash guy here.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I spilled a little bit, so.
Oh, it's okay. No worries.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll just short out the microphone. every
Oh,
time.
I was just gonna ask that. Oh, wow. I might have to start
You
using
get
that.
to do it online.
Yeah,
This
wow.
one's gotta be yours.
Yes, thank you. Oh.
Would
It's
you
education.
mind terribly?
No, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you very much.
You sure? Thank you.
God, did I lose some steam? Wait a minute.
No, no.
What's wrong with this picture?
That was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at 2,900 on this line. Why any reason for the,
Yes, we've added a stipend in the new contract for detectives. In other words, right now, we have a detective as a rank. And
Okay.
actually, at this point, it's probably better if I turn this over to John to explain it. He's probably a little familiar with the stipend.
Yeah, previously the detective rank was a rank, it was in the salary guide in the contract, it's in the TO. It'll remain in the TO until you guys address that, but subject to the new contract, it's being eliminated. That's more consistent with the way it's done in other agencies. the officer gets the title of detective as opposed to the rank. So if you're a patrolman, you're a detective patrolman. If you're in the detective bureau, if you're a sergeant, you're a detective sergeant.
Oh, okay.
So it used to be that the rank was the title. Now the title is dictated, the title detective is dictated by the assignment, which is determined at the chief's discretion, who's assigned in there. So by giving them, by taking that out of the salary guide, the officer in there doesn't get any salary, he gets a stipend for his time in there. It covers things like specialized equipment, uniforms are covered, that's your regular duty uniform, which you obviously still have to maintain, but plain clothes, you need things like, just different equipment, things like that, even just right down to a smaller flashlight that's more concealable, to belt equipment, different holsters for your weapon, etc. So it's to cover those expenses.
I'm good with the 2,900. Does anybody have an issue with it? But I think we should take a vote.
So
May I have a
we have two now, or is that what you said?
It's add one more corporal and one more detective, right?
No.
In the notes?
Correct.
And the corporal stipends are included.
That's what the note says, add one more.
The current position of
Right, yeah.
detective will remain as a rank until that attrition's out. One day, then it'll be, moving forward, our officer will be stipended rather than ranked.
Ideally, you want a department with 4 corporals to cover the 4 shifts under Pittman, and again, the detective bureau will be determined by assignment. So the rank will no longer exist, and you'll have 4 corporals and no rank of detective.
Can
I'm
I
okay
have,
with it.
okay, can I have a motion on the 2,900?
So,
Second?
Second?
Sue, vote?
Councilman Casio?
yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Recuse.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President King?
Yes. Okay, last line item, chief salary. I'm good here. Anybody have any?
I would just like to say, I don't think it's appropriate for the chief to speak on his own salary in this case. Ex-Chief Hooper did the research on this number. That is to the low side of average in the county. And in light of the new contract, we feel, when it's signed, hopefully imminently, that it does create enough of a distinction between the highest rank in the department as opposed to the chief's salary, paying something appropriately above that level.
Does anybody have any issues with this line, or can we move forward? I have no issue.
I'm of the old tradition, and I've rich for a long time, that I like going with the 1.5% over the last year. And I guess my question is, are we looking for a contract?
I think what we're looking at would be a working agreement. I don't think if it's collective bargaining contract, we would have an employment agreement.
Okay.
We are looking at an employment agreement.
Because you know my philosophy, I've been here long enough, we've known each other for a long time. You're an employee of the town, you can't have it both ways. Not you, but the
Yep.
position in general. So I'm of the opinion of 1.5% increase as all other employees of the town have, so that's where I'm at.
Steve, 1.5% would have him lower than what the captain will get as part of the new contract.
I understand the numbers.
I just want to make sure.
I know.
I mean, actually, by law, you can't pay me less than the captain.
Right.
Listen, I'm going to give you, I think maybe we could discuss this at I don't know if you wanted to do this at a closed meeting.
No, I think does anybody else have any issues, or does anybody want to make a motion to vote on the 190?
I'll motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Sue?
Yep, hold on 1 second.
So we're voting on the 190.
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Casio?
I'm a no.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Just wanted
Yeah, yeah.
I get nervous.
Gee, you just wanted to make sure you could vote on this one.
What's the question?
No.
It's an employee, it's an
He's
employee.
not a relation.
I know, I'm just,
Desiree just dotting her i's and crossing her t's, that's all.
Yeah,
sure.
It's
okay.
Already sure this is for Q's.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay, police other expenses. Office supplies. $3,500. I'm good. Anybody else?
Good.
Okay.
Okay, the postage is lumped into the $9,000. Good
Okay,
there.
good.
Subscriptions and books, $1,000. I'm okay with this.
Okay.
Okay, meetings and conferences, $3,000. Anybody have any problems?
Nope.
Office equipment repairs, $5,000. I know it was 0 last year, but I'm assuming them upgrades are warranted.
What is this for?
Office equipment repairs?
What are we getting?
That's, I'm just curious what it's for. It's a lot of money.
And when I take a minute to think about that,
Cheat.
Okay, so let's, we'll come back to that line?
yeah.
So we're gonna table 270?
Yeah, but we're gonna come back to it before we close, we're finished today,
Okay.
so. We're tabled for 5 minutes. Okay, copier expense, 2,000, I'm good.
What happened to mileage?
What
Oh,
about
sorry,
mileage?
sorry. Mileage, 5,000. Oh, actually,
Zero.
0, I'm sorry.
Zero.
Mileage was a line that we zeroed out. No,
But-
those are before 1 minute. I believe that mileage item was supposed to be changed. Was that the one that was supposed to be changed to medical last year and then it never got changed?
I believe so.
I think we're eliminating that item and we'll put the money in somewhere else.
So we X that $5,000 out?
Correct.
Yeah, that was
Zero
put in
goes
last
to
year, we
zero.
didn't spend that.
Yeah, might have
We
been
don't
also.
pay.
Do they
yeah.
get mileage to go to classes or no?
As per the contract, yes. In practical purpose, yes. We try to give them a department vehicle
Right.
to use for the
Right.
transportation.
Right.
So in a practical matter, I don't recall the last time someone
It
put in
should
for
be.
mileage.
It should always be a town vehicle.
Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes we run out.
And then what do you do?
Then
And
the
they have to
officer
take
takes
their
his
own.
own vehicle.
Oh, sticky wicket,
But they don't put in for the mileage.
insurance wise.
Right,
And the way the fleet
No,
is going,
I'm
we
worried
should
about
have
the
enough going
insurance and
forward,
I'm worried
right? Yeah.
about the
okay.
expenses.
Okay, copier expense, 2,000, I'm good. Anybody else?
Good.
Okay.
Okay, equipment and furniture, 1,500, I'm,
Well, we upped it to
oh,
25.
up to 25, sorry.
That's
But there was a
let's see the note.
$32,000 expense last year, that was, you upgraded all the furniture and the, correct?
Not all.
Not all, but we did a significant upgrade. We got all new chairs for all the desks. We also got all
Monitors.
new monitors for
Okay.
all the
Yeah,
computers.
I went to computer monitors.
So that was the bulk of it.
Okay, so you're asking for 2,500 this year. I'm good, we need to vote on the 2,500. May I have a motion for the 2,500?
I'm good. Yes.
So
Second.
moved.
Sue?
Second. Whatever.
Rich, we got soap.
No recusal?
Yes, excellent.
We got soap, yeah.
I don't
Good
think
with
so.
soap.
All right, just checking.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cumming.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Dean.
Yes. Okay, so,
Advertising 0, right? So,
yeah, all right.
That zeroed out? Okay, thank you.
Interpreters, calibrations, I'm good with this.
Did I cover your
2,100?
language line?
Yes.
You
Sure,
share that with
anything else?
the health department? You share that with the health department or no?
Courts.
The language
The
line?
court may also have the language line. I know we have account with language line. and-
Anybody can dial in, so it's built to your phone.
Yeah, I can say when our officers dial in, there's a code, and then they put their individual code in, so we know what
Okay.
officer dialed in.
Gotcha.
So you know who's spending what.
Yeah, it's kind of a standard contract across the board as much as we use it. It's a completely necessary tool because, fortunately, even if our officers were bilingual, they'd have to be certified bilingual. This gets us legal certification that they.
There's so many dialects, it's
Right.
impossible to keep up with everything.
And on legal, that's 100% right. Legally, they have to have a certification. You can't just
Mhm.
have, you speak the same language that you interpret for
I'm
them.
familiar with that from court.
Yeah.
Are we good with the 2,100?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Radio expense, 6,000, I'm good with that. So you were 6,209 last year, do you think the 6,000 is gonna do you this year?
Wait, you're getting,
Those were repairs.
you're getting
For
3 or
repairs.
4 new,
Right now, we
4
don't-
new vehicles on lease?
I think that's a separate,
Mr. Tova? How many more cars are they getting? They're getting 4 cars this year?
For 5 total, actually.
Will that be sufficient to transfer?
This is for
Probably gonna
repairs.
purchase one radio.
So,
These are the ones in the cars
Yeah.
itself?
It's
Okay.
just because
line,
there's no service
this is
agreement
for
on them.
repairs.
No, this
This
line
line's
item
repairs.
is radio repairs.
This
Yeah,
line is
just
radio
Okay.
just for the
repairs.
cars.
Cars and
And
Okay.
inside.
portable
Well,
radio.
I guess my question is, we're working with the county now, with communications.
Yeah,
So is this
so-
going to
Anticipating that.
anticipate that coming down
Whatever.
because of working with the
Once we
county?
get a
In
new
the future,
system,
I
yes.
I would hope so.
so.
I think this is our, in case something goes wrong and we need to repair it until the new system gets into place.
Gotcha. Okay,
So-
I'm good with it.
Mr. Tolo, at the last meeting, we talked about the status of the communication project.
Yes.
We were gonna have an update. We were gonna get an update on that.
Do you have
and the,
anything you can
Our
offer?
consultant is meeting directly with the Motorola rep on Monday.
And what about the?
Okay, let's do that.
Hold on, but we're this 6,000 this year is going to be, the longer we keep this communication thing going, this is wasted money. And that's the way we gotta look at it, is because we're gonna have to replace these radios with new radios. So we're gonna buy a new radio this year that's not gonna work as soon as we finish the communication.
They're all upward compatible, anything we buy.
Everything's compatible?
Anything new that we buy, yes, I'm making sure that it is before I sign off on it.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
Mike, this is like, until we get this thing up and running, if tomorrow the base station has a problem, I can.
Oh, this is just repairs?
This is
Just
repair.
Okay, no, so
For the
so,
old system we currently have, which is 20 years old.
no, and that's what I'm saying, is like, I don't, 2 years in a row, we budgeted this knowing we have this communication project going, and it was, we budgeted $750 last year to get it done, and
Okay,
I wanted to
okay,
get it done.
Let's go forward. So this is this is repairs, so this is 6,000. I'm good. Anybody else have an issue with this?
Change the title to repairs,
I agree.
Yes,
please.
or radio repair expense.
Yes, yes, some there.
Okay, the next line is training. I see you have a note that it's an online training program, 4,000 annually. I'm assuming the additional 10 is for off-site training.
Yep. So, as I spoke before, we've steadily increased our training budget, and I think we've increased the professional development of the department, plus there's always an increase every year of mandatory training required by police officers.
Right.
And one of the plans we have to address that mandatory training is we're looking at a consultant providing us with the online classes that will go into Power DMS, and then our police officers can log into Power DMS and take the class online.
Okay.
Question.
This also reduces overtime,
Yes.
so you're not sending officers out to go to class.
And this is for all mandatory overtime other than firearms, comes out to $197 roughly per man, and it covers, it's a bargain.
So, a couple of years ago, when I started Stigma Free, we were trying to get you guys mental health first aid trained. Is everyone mental health first aid trained?
No, I can tell you that 3 of us went to the mental health first aid training.
I know the reason why years ago, it was a free training being offered by a program, and the barrier was that at that time, you guys were not permitted to go and get paid for like a business day or a training day or what
Right.
have you. Is that still the case?
I don't believe that's the case. And I don't want to speak ill of anybody, but I believe a previous administration would not pay the police
Correct.
officers to go to a mental health class. I
That's
don't
correct.
think that is an issue now.
Okay, good. So is that included in here, like that you could actually, you have enough in here to have people go to get mental health first aid trained and pay them for their?
I think this is just the class, this is not the payroll.
class, yeah.
Right, so how do we, where would that lie? Where would that money be?
Well, I think as a general line item, we could increase mental health training with this budget. If it became a big expense, we might want to, I don't, like, I'm not 100% prepared to answer what it's going to cost to get everybody mental health trained. There are
I
things
think to
going
be
on at the
fair,
state
though, do you
level.
feel you have enough money in your overall training budget to consider that as one of the mandatory courses this year? Or spread over 2 years even?
Before you answer that, I'd like to ask, do you happen to know, is that training available online, or do they have to actually go to a class?
It's in person.
It's in person, okay.
I mean, it's evolved so much over the last couple of years, it may be something they have online, but I think at their level, because they are truly, genuinely hands-on mental health first aid trained, it may be something that is in person.
I think it's something to be very beneficial. I can say this, we have a couple officers that are trained specifically in like traumatic incident debriefing. We have a resiliency officer, but across the board, not everybody's trained. So, to send each police officer for a day of mental health training, I think would be a great idea.
Do you want to table this so you can find out
Yeah.
the cost?
We'd have to see if there's a cost for the actual training.
Right. Mhm.
But the salary that you were getting to before, if this,
That would be covered under overtime.
that would, okay, that's what.
I think we need to move forward with this proactively. I really
Yeah,
do.
Yeah.
Do you know, Desiree, would we be able to still get those classes without?
I think we could.
All right. And
I
if
still have a lot
if we didn't have to pay to go to the class,
Correct.
then I think in
You
that
can make
overtime
time.
budget, I think we could figure it out,
Yes,
absolutely.
we
So
could.
time's not an issue, it's the cost, if the cost has a
If
class.
there's an extra
If
cost.
there's a cost to take the class is the
Yeah.
issue.
So the additional
Gotta do it.
10,000
Absolutely.
you already have earmarked for your plans going forward for the year.
Correct.
So, okay, is your feeling we could do it for free, or we
Yes.
should table it and
I
see if
think we
there's a
could do it
cost?
for free. I think the books are where the charge is, and we can figure something out with that.
Right, and I think the caveat has to be, if we find out we can't, is the council open to a discussion and?
We'll look at it again.
Look at it
Okay.
again. Yeah,
All
I
right,
would
good.
do
So
it.
let's go forward with this line.
Let's promise to revisit it.
I
If we
agree.
have to.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to add
If
an extra
necessary, yes.
1,000 in to cover even books
I don't
and
even-
stuff, or?
To make it 15,000?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, I just think I'd rather get a more accurate number.
Okay.
I think let's go with the 14, and then if we've all agreed to revisit it, I think that's a better conversation.
Right.
If that's okay.
Absolutely.
Good for
Okay,
me.
so we're good with the 14,000.
I'm gonna insist on that,
Okay.
if that will help.
Chief gets a uniform allowance, $1,000.
Good?
I'm good. Police safety equipment and uniforms, 10,000, I'm
Good.
good. Spend from last year. Oxygen and fire extinguishers, 1,500, I'm good with that. Anybody have any issues with that line?
Nope.
Okay. Equipment maintenance and licenses, 3,500, but my question here was, is 1,400 less than you spent last year? Do you anticipate that 35 is enough, or we should bump it up?
So let me just refer to that particular line item.
Sure.
Could get the kind of license.
Till we buy that power DMS or whatever?
Yeah, and honestly,
There's different line items for that. so-
there's a lot of, for example, as we go through, you'll see that we combined kind of a computer software and a computer purchase into one. Some of these line items have been around a while, and they combine, there's different things in them, and Glenn Hooper kind of had an idea in his head of what these are. I need to kind of look at a printout to see. Maintenance, it's gonna be, I just want to look at line item 240, 450.
You're at maintenance and licenses now? Kind of stuck on.
Yeah.
InfoCop, you got InfoCop,
Yeah, I'm seeing InfoCop in there.
voice record maintenance renewal,
Yeah, and I'm
live
seeing-
scan maintenance renewal, and a printer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
So I would actually say, if we can, let's go closer to what we spent last year then.
So I make a motion to move this to 5,000.
Yeah,
May I have a
doesn't
second?
that, is that appropriate, chief?
I believe it is.
Will 5 cover it?
According to what I'm looking at on this sheet, yeah, we should be good there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just keep in mind for everybody, when the policemen reviewed their budget, we did it prior to the former chief's retirement,
Oh, okay.
so the year-end numbers weren't in yet.
Okay.
So,
Right.
No, that's fine, but I'd rather give you what you need.
sure.
Okay, I'm making a motion for 5,000. Can I have a second?
Second,
Sue?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cumming,
yes?
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, no printing. I was wondering with the cards, do you need a printing budget that you're giving out to the kids?
No, the police trading cards are actually community
okay.
policing, and
Okay.
we did get donations for those also.
Can I just tell you, my daughter thinks it's the best thing ever. It's good as Pokemon.
When are we gonna have coffee with a cop again?
Yeah.
I think we should start mayor and council cards.
Do that now.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we doing that now?
Right.
We could give those away.
Is that it? This is my free cup of coffee?
The captain brings up, I think, a valid point. Historically, I think this printing goes to a day back where, when we would print forms that are now done electronically.
Okay.
So we don't really need any more. However, the captain did point out to me that in previous years, we were not allowed to give police officers business cards.
Oh,
So maybe
really?
we want to put something back in
You
printing.
weren't?
where we could-
You're not?
Yeah, we were told if police.
Budgetarily, not that we
Budgetarily,
were, not
No,
that we were
just for
prohibited.
public relations kind
So
of a
how
thing?
much
Officers were paying to
Officers were
create
buying
their
their
own
own
business
business
cards
How
because
many-
they
how
are
much
invaluable.
per person?
Their contact card.
$5.
Yeah, yeah.
How many police officers in the department roughly?
We have
That you-
20
Yeah, of
plus
course.
two.
20 plus.
So,
They're napkins, so it might be a little hard.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah, good.
Business cards are very valuable. I don't know the
okay.
fees.
So I think at 20 officers, $35, I mean, I think,
That's, I think, you're in line.
That's, we got it from where again?
700.
That's corporate.
Depth courts,
So I would put 1,000 in for this year.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I agree, business cards for
It's
somebody to
public
go over
relations,
to.
they
and-
can have something.
Does anybody have any issues with making this line 1,000? I have to vote on it, but
I'm sorry, what are you putting in there?
1,000?
Okay, okay.
And honestly, what we're doing right now is printing half sleeves of paper that says this is your accident report number. On the back of that business card, you can give it to the person with
Oh,
your
with the,
accident report
and
number.
then they would have who the police officer was at the accident. I think that's
So
a good
maybe
idea.
Save
you'll
some
put like
trees.
that on the backside of it then, and
Yep.
that's what that work you guys do.
Okay.
And it looks more professional.
Getting into the 21st century here.
No, that's a good point, thank you, and thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, motion for the $1,000?
I'll second.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
Yes?
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay, medical supplies. I'm good. You're in line with last year, pretty much over $60.
Good?
Anybody have any issues? Okay. Miscellaneous, 6,500. Could you just give us what that is? I mean, I kind of saw some of the items, but if you could.
Yeah, so miscellaneous, as far as I understand, has always been kind of a bit of a catch-all, we use the word catch-all. And I can tell you that in last year, we increased miscellaneous because we did use some of that money to pay for medical and psychological testing for new hires. I think that might have been that
$1,000.
other line, that $5,000 line item that got eliminated.
Okay,
So,
it's okay.
Yeah.
I see also, do you need like is there a car expense line that you would need in the future, like for Easy Pass and like things we could track?
So-
Would that be helpful in the
It
future?
typically comes out of
Right
that.
now,
It does
Easy
typically.
Pass is coming out of there now.
Yeah.
If we made Easy Pass a separate line, I
We
suppose.
could put like car miscellaneous or
Yeah.
like vehicle miscellaneous. Would that help you in the future, you think, or just leave it in miscellaneous? It's up to you.
I would say for this year, if we leave it in
Yeah,
miscellaneous.
but
and,
maybe for next year?
Maybe for next year, yeah, we would have a better understanding of what comes out of there.
Okay.
So you want to leave it at 65?
I'm good with 65. Does anybody have any issues?
I'm sorry, back up, I think the majority of that was the vehicle washes, wasn't it?
Car wash.
Car wash.
Car wash
Okay.
is Easy
And then
Pass.
medical.
Okay,
Like medical
sorry, just kidding.
testing
And
came
next
out of
year,
that.
Mr. Chobo, we could put it into its own line car, like miscellaneous car expense, I guess, would be great.
Okay.
And then wouldn't be a miscellaneous, it would have a description. So for
That
this
could
year,
really go in vehicle maintenance or something, a car wash could be considered maintenance.
I agree. I'm good with the
So that's the
6,500.
miscellaneous is car wash?
It's, car wash,
It's a miscellaneous.
It's a hodgepodge of
It's,
For a
there's a lot of
department
stuff
your
in there.
That's what
size,
miscellaneous is
6,500
by
isn't bad for
Yeah.
miscellaneous.
yeah. I'm good. Anybody have any issues?
No.
No, fine.
Guns and ammunition, 14,000, I'm good. Anybody have any issues?
Is that enough?
I'm gonna defer that.
It could always be more, but it's enough.
Your historical.
That leaves me up, that leaves me up in the air a little bit. Is
Price
that
of
enough?
brass.
We were held back for so many years that we're finally starting to catch up.
That's my understanding, that's why I'm
And
concerned for you.
Our weapons are, over 5 years old now, so, they're gonna start having some wear and tear. They need to get sent back,
Can you do
refurbished.
this on a
So-
rotation? So that
Yes.
it's not a big hit in one year like
Correct.
the Scott pack tanks were a big
Yeah.
hit
Right.
Right.
all at once?
No, we're staying on top of it, but yeah, the extra 1,000 is just the increase in cost for ammunition as well as gun parts.
I
Yes,
see
sir.
it went from 12 to 13, so it's got consistent.
Yeah,
But
we've been trying to.
I mean, if you had to add like 2,000 for the next 5 years, does that give you enough to recycle everyone's weapon? I don't know, you said 5 years, is that an average life expectancy for a weapon?
Well, typically between 5 and 10 years, you replace them. We've gone much longer than that.
Yeah.
in the
And
past.
still,
Midpoint throughout that cycle, they should receive a refurbishing, which would include new barrels and springs.
Which is where we're at now.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, wait, now, do you own
Yeah, we own.
your
We
guns
own all of our guns. yeah.
personally?
Yes.
No,
No.
No, the
they're
department
department
owns.
issue firearms.
The department owns it.
Are you thinking there's gonna be a big expense next year to replace some of the weapons? Or like in the near, maybe over the next 3 years, or?
I would say maybe over the next 3 years. I think,
Over the next 3
I
years.
think right now the
Sorry to
weapons
show my
are pretty good.
Okay.
We've had some discussions amongst ourselves of,
Maybe I shouldn't.
would we want to when we replace the current handguns, you know, would we want to change the model or change this? And we feel that they're okay for now. It's probably something we need to sit back a year from now and
Okay.
discuss.
Okay.
you know, where-
That's fair.
Potentially for
Aren't
next
the
year.
sa- the safety mechanisms changing and being upgraded to?
Not that drastically, no.
No?
So, AJ, you're comfortable with 14?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'm good with the 14. Does anybody have any
Good.
issues? Okay.
Whatever the,
Traffic light maintenance and repair, 5,000.
Good.
Other equipment rental,
what's,
zero.
I'm sorry, Stacy?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, Madam
Oh,
President.
that's fine.
May I ask if there's going to be any effect of the new intersection, or is that taken into account with the decrease over the 18?
So this is maintenance and repair. I think it's on existing, not.
It's just to fix what we currently have.
That'll be
working
all
there.
under warranty and brand new.
Yes.
But-
Once the
but-
intersection is.
But it won't happen this
there.
year. We won't get to the point of having a new signal installed
okay.
this year.
Thank you.
Like, there was a short last year, you saw there was almost $1,000 to
Correct.
replace a
Yes.
node and a bulb. So,
That's in case we have to
and
ship the
we were
parts from
out for like 2
Wherever.
hours.
the- wherever they come from, yeah.
Buy them on eBay again for Kansas, that's where the left pieces came.
Can you get them to make that left turn a
So do we
little
need to replace
longer at Washington?
Well,
Yeah,
thi-
let it
this,
Planned with the new intersection.
yeah,
With the
this,
new inter, so is that's the
Yeah.
one, that's the one they had to get shipped from Kansas. It's not another, we're not working on.
Just
Okay,
kidding.
that was my question. Are we not, we not planning eBay is gonna be out of stock?
They found it in a barn.
Hey, listen, hey, that's
Like
pretty
old
good.
cars.
You know what, maybe we should be an ad for eBay.
When we take that one down, we'll put it up on eBay.
Listen, people
we're
buy
gonna be able to
street.
sell it to the
Yeah.
Light Hall of Fame.
Right.
Okay, so everybody's good with the 5,000?
Yes.
Okay, nothing for other equipment rental? Do you anticipate that line coming out next year?
With the
Yeah, I
red
think
Yes.
when we moved to remove all those, they
That was-
roll
yeah.
them in the other eyes.
It's
Oh,
rolled
you
into one of
you
the line
combined it with
items.
another one,
Yeah.
okay. Okay,
So
range
that's-
rental fees, is that now
That's
included in?
God's
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see that in the next
And
page.
then, okay. Computer software, 7,500. So I see that we spent 37, 36 last year. Is there new licenses that are
If you see
coming out
the
then?
note, we're combining that with another
Combining that.
line item, that's why it's zero recommended.
Oh, okay,
I think we had a software purchase and a software lease, and we're putting them on one.
okay. I just want to get a look at last year. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'm good with that. Anybody have any issues?
So the 7,500 is 75?
No, it's zero.
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 There's nothing
I saw
this-
that.
This column is what we're actually voting on.
Okay.
It says administration requests.
Mhm,
That's what
mhm.
the department requests.
Mhm.
That's the one you always vote.
Okay.
Okay. Next section, police vehicle
We
lease.
doing computer supplies?
Oh, sorry, I missed computer supplies.
820.
Yes. I'm okay. Anybody have any issues?
Why such an increase, chief? Any reason?
Yeah, I'm looking at that also. I know we discussed this. Yeah, you know, part of it is the fact that, you know, we ran so many years, like Steve said, without soap, that, you know, we wouldn't replace an ink cartridge until the printer ran out of ink and wasn't functioning. In fact, we just had an issue where the ink ran out in the DVD burner that burns for the car cameras, and we had like days where we couldn't print them. So we're just trying to increase, to have those computer supplies ready. You know, for example, you know, we had police officers bringing their own flash drives to work because the department wasn't purchasing them. So we're just trying to,
Talk up, chief, talk up, chief, talk up, chief.
we're trying to buy things that in the past we were not.
Use and talk up.
So you're trying to keep a
Keep a
stock up,
supply,
so that you're not
so we're not
running to
waiting.
Staples or having to wait for something to be shipped. So you're just trying to run normally.
That's fine, it's
Okay.
acceptable.
We want to avoid people using their personal
Yes.
computer
Sure.
equipment at work.
For other.
I'm good with the 7,500.
Especially in the police department.
Good.
Yeah.
75?
Yes,
Good.
everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. Glad you're keeping on top of that. That's,
So by the way, that's the first time anybody's told me that I don't have a big mouth, so thank you. It's the first time that anybody's told me I don't have a big mouth, so thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, vehicle leasing, I know this has to do with Mr. Tovo's working on, which we've discussed previously. I'm good with the 95,000 based upon the previous information provided. Is everybody okay?
I think you've already approved it in a council session,
Yeah,
so.
so that's kind of why,
Yep.
we're good?
Yes.
Okay. Telephone maintenance, 6,700, I'm okay with that. Anybody have any issues?
Is that just basic telephone service? That's all it is.
Yes, and that's one,
It's the lease of the phones. The lease and that comes with the service contract
comes
too.
with a service contract.
Right.
And Sue, I'll thank you again. We had to change some phone extensions, and Sue did that for us, so thank you.
Get those right names out there, yes.
Okay, dispatch desk software licenses, 15,000. I'm good.
Yes.
Community police website, 3,000, which is, I'm good with. I'm assuming there's plans to update and upgrade some parts of the website.
Yeah, actually, our website was recently upgraded. I don't know how much you're on there. It's actually become a pretty good tool for us.
Fortunately, I don't have to be on them. I've been on there a lot.
Yeah, no, if you remember, about a year ago or a year and a half ago, we had a gentleman from town that donated his service to upgrade the
Oh, that's good.
website, so now we're just paying for the
Maintenance.
kind of the hosting.
Okay.
And that community policing, or that website, I guess, being part of our community policing program, got included in the community policing budget.
Okay.
So most of what you're seeing in that budget is actually money we spend on community policing programs.
Okay.
Did we give him an honorarium for?
We did, we actually
He was
had.
recognized at a council
Yes.
meeting
As
As they
last
say,
week.
it-
Grant. He
Must have
continues
missed
to,
that one.
to help us if we, need a little help with the website.
That's really nice. Okay, no vehicle acquisitions, car cameras, $4,500.
So that's kind of a repair item. We're gonna look next year in capital budget for 2021, maybe to replace the car cameras.
Okay,
They're
What
out
is
of
each,
warranty.
what is each camera worth to buy a new,
Anywhere from 4,500 to 6,000.
for each car?
For each
Correct.
car,
how many cars for next year are you planning?
7.
Okay,
So there's a
That- The number I
45,000.
gave you was a replacement, actually for new, they're hovering more around 7 to 7,500, but to replace the existing.
So we're looking at $50,000.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe next year that would go in capital.
That's what we're thinking, it's a
Yeah.
cap.
Yeah.
We're gonna do our research this year and get the best system that will work for the whole department, not just for the cars, but maybe body worn cameras, go along with other equipment, plus the evidence maintenance, which is the computer inside that actually burns the DVDs, but we're looking at maybe cloud storage instead.
cloud storage would be great.
Yeah.
And I know Amazon, just so you know, does a program with the police department, they give like a half prorated price. Just so you know, they have a special division that works on that.
Yeah, John, the captain and I kind of got an education on recording systems this year, but the education that we got was at a seminar, kind of scratched the surface, so we have a lot of research to do.
So that's just maintenance if one of these DVRs goes down in the cars. I mean, it's usually $500 a pop.
And
just to fix
the
them.
note is on the top of the next page, but
Yeah,
no maintenance contract available, because they've aged out.
Yep, they're all out.
Okay.
Are most departments in Bergen County wearing body cameras now?
No,
No, okay.
I would say most are not. I think it's an up-and-coming thing that we would look at.
Right.
One of the things that we did discover is we don't currently have tasers. In New Jersey, if you have a taser, that taser has to be equipped with a camera, by law that records the event.
Really?
We're
Okay.
finding out now that taser is the new taser that's gonna be accepted by the state will no longer have a camera, because they're expecting you to wear a body camera with the taser.
Okay.
So one of the things we have to decide is, are we gonna put a body camera on just when the officer has a taser, or if we're gonna go to body cameras, do we now wanna research the actual body camera program? But that's another thing that there's a lot to do.
Okay.
There's policy to research.
most states do not require cameras with their tasers because those states already provide body worn cameras, so.
Okay.
New Jersey's one of the only ones that requires it, but the manufacturer doesn't want to just make tasers just for New Jersey, so they've gone away from that, and that's why the new taser version will not have a camera built in.
Oh, they do? Okay. Okay, I'm good with the 4,500. Anybody have any issues?
No.
Okay. Computer software leasing, 17,000. I'm good.
Well, it's
Oh,
24.5,
it's 24.
because that's one we combined from the previous.
Okay, so plus. Anybody have any questions there?
Okay.
Okay, range rental. I'm good there.
Good.
Reverse 911 system, 3,500, I'm good.
Oh,
5,000, sorry, 5,000.
And if you see the
When will
note,
we roll out next?
Add Nixle software,
I'd say as soon as the budget is approved.
so it's 1,500.
I have to say
for-
that up until now, I have not really been involved with the Nixle discussion. I know that Sergeant Fasciano's been looking into that, so
Yeah.
I think Bob could probably tell you more about Nixle than I could at this point, but
Yeah, the overall budget process, it was discussed a little bit with you guys, discussed with OEM, discussed with the mayor. Nixle does give us some advantages that our current Swift Reach does not. Most notably, traffic detours. We can get out more quickly with cell phones, so people know that,
Okay.
you know, Robinwood is closed,
Closed,
please,
right.
you know.
And
But
so
Swift
it-
Reach is doing that now, isn't it? Because I've gotten,
Just puts out a message.
Right.
yeah, so what's the difference between the way Nixle does it and Swift Reach does it?
Rich, one question, back to the range. What range are we using now?
So right now, and AJ will correct me if I misspeak, but we're shooting handguns in Primus range indoors, and we shoot rifles in North Arlington, which is an outdoor range.
I'm getting back to you.
Yeah, I mean, most experts will tell you, when you look at a reverse 911 system, if you overuse it with detour information, people will not listen to it anymore.
So we're gonna supplement Swift Reach with Nixle?
Yes.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you were gonna replace.
Not replace, no, it's
Well, let me,
supplement.
at least for the first year, we'll have both, and then we'll do another analysis to see can we drop the older one, but at least for the next year, year and a half, we'll operate with both.
Okay.
Okay, are we good with the, we think we should take a vote on the 5,000. May I have a motion for the 5,000 on the reverse 911? I'll second. Sue?
So this should be changed, Bob, to Swift Reach Nixle then if we approve this,
Yes,
right? It should add
In the
Nixle.
description.
right.
Nixle to the title, right?
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Kelly?
Yes?
Councilman DeSena?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Police dispatching software, 210.
No, salary and wages.
Oh, sorry. Salary and wages. So the note says dispatch overtime and holiday pay. So we are at 210,000. I'm good. Anybody have any I know there's an increase about 21,000.
And that's because you're adding the overtime and holiday pay in there? Is that why it's going up? Is that
Why
somewhere
don't
else?
you guys give a little background on that?
Yeah, with regard to overtime and holiday pay, previously, the dispatchers, they work as town employees, but working under the Pittman schedule, they're initially scheduled for significantly more hours than 2,080 hours a year. So they're given, obviously, the Kelly time that makes up for that. They're given their vacation time, again, consistent with town employees, 80 hours. They're all at 80 hours a year. Town employees get the 12 holidays off, but scheduling the dispatchers and giving them the holidays off, we've given them holiday time, which they could use throughout the year. The problem with that is a dispatcher is one of one and has to be replaced by either another dispatcher or police officer. We found that to be difficult with scheduling. So what we want to do now is pay them for their holidays, like the town employees are paid for their holidays. So they won't receive the day off, but they will get it added to their pay. 96 hours of pay will be added to their pay.
Oh.
And as far as the overtime goes, we don't have a separate dispatch overtime line. So if you do the salaries, which is roughly 160,000, that's 4 dispatchers times $40,000 each. That's up, so you have 160. That would be your straight salaries and wages. We would request at some point when you guys address the salary ordinance that we could get a range in there, because currently we now have dispatchers that are here 2 years and they make the same amount as someone who was hired today. So we would request a range in there so we could potentially bring them up, and it's something we'd like to discuss in the future. So the difference between the 160 to the 210 that's requested basically comes down to overtime for them to cover each other's holidays, I'm sorry, not holidays, vacation and Kelly days, as well as any sick days used.
And the increase in salary for the holiday pay.
Correct.
I'm good with the 210. Does anyone have any issues?
I'm okay.
Okay, all right. OEM software.
I'm concerned, you know, the whole dispatcher, you know, conversation came around with bringing costs down, and we're trending higher and higher and higher. So I think we all need to have a discussion of how we start trending down again, not higher. Because the whole thing behind this was not keeping an officer there at the officer's salary and losing them on the road. However, we've gone from, you know, I know we've increased the amount of dispatchers, but we're starting to trend a lot higher than we started out with, and it's.
Mike, the big increase from 2018 to 2019 would have been in 2018.
We hired one more, right?
Yeah, we weren't covering.
2018.
no time off.
2018, we did not have a full-time.
That's what I'm saying, we didn't,
dispatch
yeah.
program. 2019 was when we
had a
first
full
started with a
dispatch
full-time
program.
dispatch.
I know, but it just, you know, we're creeping back up to the 280 numbers, and I just wanna, you know, I think they do a phenomenal job. I wanna, you know, not, but I just think we gotta start figuring out, you know, how to control this a little bit better.
If you look at that line item, and then you look at our overtime budget, you'll see
Right,
the savings in the overtime budget.
Absolutely, yeah.
As soon as the dispatchers came
Correct,
on,
it
you'll see the
changed.
drop in
Yeah.
the overtime budget.
In terms of how they're
It
administered,
almost cuts it.
if, with the chief's permission, in terms of how they're administered, I kind of run that in terms of,
Okay.
if you want to sit down and go over how it's run.
I
I'll be
think,
happy
no,
to
I don't
explain
need that,
so
I'm
you
just
guys
saying,
are
I'm just
aware.
saying, you know, it's starting to, you know, it's a great idea, I support it fully, but I just, you know, I'm concerned that, you know, we keep throwing, you know, $20,000 increases into this item, eventually we're gonna be back up to the 280, 300 number, and then it's gonna be like, well, why don't we put an officer back on the desk, because we're back at the same, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
I'm not supporting that, but I'm just saying,
I don't
but
think
that's where that's where we're going back to, you know?
Without going into it a lot further, if you're gonna have a presentation and look into this, there was a huge amount of discussion about getting cops off the dispatch desk
And we've done
and
that.
cutting the costs, and I have seen, but there are people out there that we need to maybe prepare a comparison of 1 year going forward into present time. And I know it's still happening, that it's still being, the changeover, it's pretty much complete, but maybe we could talk about a conference with one or more of you in the future with one or more of us, so that we can have a full summary of all the good things that you have done.
You know, and I think at some point, that would be a separate discussion. You know, right off the top of my head, you know, one of the values that we don't see money-wise is when our officers make an arrest, and you'll notice when you look at reports monthly, we make a lot more arrests than we used to the last couple of years. The dispatchers are helping process that, so that's just kind of an added.
I'm not trying to take
Yeah,
away
no,
from,
I get it.
I'm just,
There's creep.
it's just,
There's some creep.
the
And
creep
there's
is
also
called.
creep in the other ancillary costs that aren't reflected in the 210 with,
And I think
you know,
this creep
health
this year
benefits and
was
pensions and
essentially,
all that stuff, so
we decided to pay them.
that number's still going up beyond the 210
Yeah,
at this point.
we're
So
deciding to pay them for that holiday rather than give them off and then have to put somebody else.
I
in.
understand.
That's understandable, but.
We're still significantly, to John's credit, and I'll give the captain full credit, this was kind of his project. We're still significantly below what Westwood proposed years back as a
Yeah,
number.
that's what I was gonna say, their last number, I'm glad you kind of confirmed it, Mike, was like 280, 3 years ago. I'm
Correct,
sure
that's
that
what-
crap has gone also.
Yeah, no,
If it's
no, no,
3,
and-
we're talking a 50% difference if we're at 210 and they're at 3, so, and we have the control
we're
in-house.
also talking health benefits, pensionable money.
Sure.
Equipment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to have someone
Yeah.
taking care of it. John could do other activities
Yep.
as opposed to overseeing that department. So, you know, it sounds like it's more.
There's a
but
benefit
it's-
there, I'm just
there's-
concerned with
there's
the
a lot-
creep, that's all.
A lot of, you know, wheels in that particular.
You know, we'd
We've
sit
been down that road before.
Yeah, we'll
so
sit
we
down
just
with
wanna
you
make sure we
anytime, you know.
keep it under control.
So I'd like
That'd
to
be
take a vote on this line item, so can I have a motion for the 210 on the police dispatching salary and wages?
So moved.
Second.
Sue, vote.
Okay, dumb question, why are we voting on it, 210 and 210?
We're just voting on it.
210,000 for that
You
line.
vote on all the larger ones.
Well,
I'm sorry, motion by,
We have, so
I motioned it.
Thank you.
I seconded it.
Seconded. Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Cummings.
Yes.
Councilman DeSena.
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Just to clarify, OEM is not under police? It's
Correct.
separate?
So we're going forward, we're just,
We can go into OEM, but we can dismiss
Well,
the officers if you'd like.
yes,
I mean,
that's it, you're done.
did they have vehicle maintenance or anything we
thought
want
we
to
handled
discuss,
that
or we don't
together
need
because,
that
we-
necessarily?
We're approaching it differently for all three
Yep.
departments now.
Okay, yep.
So where are we now?
We're
OEM.
Well, are we going to go back up to where we left off in the
Well, we
beginning?
can do that, right.
Do we want to do we need a break?
We don't got much time left.
I'm just
It's okay.
offering,
Yeah, no, thank you.
make sure nobody's.
Break without.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That's
Thank
okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
They're
What page did we leave off on?
10.
We need to bring the last.
Right here. Well done.
10, 11.
Well done. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll take a 2-minute break.
There's a moment.
So where is we, my friends?
Okay.
11.
11.
Where are we?
Top of 11.
Top of 11.
Finance treasurer.
I have
Salary
to
wages
practice my
treasurer.
German anyway.
Nothing.
Nothing.
We were going on the cruise.
No, it's not.
And,
Chief financial officer, I
here.
know we have this in here, but due to,
I think
Where is he?
we have to leave it
Yeah,
just
okay.
based on
I'm good with that.
hopefully having someone soon.
Are we gonna hold that or just gonna leave it?
no, we're
the way
gonna leave
is?
it the way it is.
Okay.
Finance director is 0. Deputy treasurer, everybody, I'm good,
Wait, the director of finances?
0.
Zero, because it's...
Do you want to make that
Well,
1350
That's
also?
Mr. Tovo, who, since he's a full-time employee,
I
does
wouldn't
not
give
take
him
the
anything,
director.
because he's already here, and we're being overly generous as it was.
Anyway, moving on.
I mean, the only thing I'll say is, if you want to, no, never mind.
I think
Scratch
we
that.
should make that one 1350,
Can we give him-
because
give
we're
him
going to
coffee
hire
for
a
$3?
person after, a real person.
A real person.
I'm glad we riced Mr. Tovo.
Keep moving, let's keep
Did we?
moving.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're the
Oh,
one that's
geez.
going down.
Well, I say it to his
I
face.
got pelted.
Say it to his face.
Leave it out for now.
Okay, so be table.
No, we're going.
I'm not giving up on that one. There's going to be somebody there, and they should be increased to 13.
Wait, we're tabling
We're
finance?
tabling
You want to
1350.
table it
We're
or no?
not, we're tabling it?
Wait, he's,
Why would you approve 1250 when I've been talking about 1350?
No, we're approving
All
zero.
the directors.
We're approving 0 because Mr. Tobo's in that position, he's already a full-time employee.
He doesn't get a stipend. He doesn't get the directorship if he's
So
on
it goes
full-time.
away.
But you know,
Oh,
Like, he doesn't get the administrator,
oh, wait, I'm
director.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
I'm sorry. Mistake?
everyone,
Art's looking out for you.
Trying to.
So, making a plan going forward, okay, regarding
Yes.
the director of finance.
Yes.
Are we just gonna combine the two for perpetuity?
think we should leave that item in case it changes.
I don't think we should plan on.
I think we should leave the line item even at 0, excuse me, in case it changes in the future. But I don't.
But right now, if we find a new finance, unless Mr. Togo's gonna be there for the remainder of the year,
Then you gotta fund it.
then you don't have any funding mechanism, so.
So either fund
He's
it or
he's
get rid of it.
approved, and
One or
he's
the
there
other.
for the remainder of my tenure,
I think
so.
for this
Okay.
budget, leave it, and then maybe, but I think even if it's 0 and goes to, I think we should keep the item.
You can't get rid of the item, it's
Yeah.
gotta take 5 years to get
Yeah.
rid of the item, so.
Okay, next, sorry.
So it's 1250?
No,
No, it's
0.
zero.
0. Okay.
Nothing is nothing.
Nothing from nothing is nothing.
Okay, deputy treasurer benefits coordinator, 1.5 increase, $5,075, I'm good.
Now, this position,
It's combined with one other.
but we don't have a treasurer, so how do we have a deputy treasurer?
I'm gonna say it's more benefits coordinator. We could probably pull deputy treasurer.
Out of it?
out.
No, I wouldn't do that because
Okay.
she's a signatory.
Oh, you're right.
Is she a backup signatory
by
or is she
title.
a signatory?
She's a signatory. She's one of the primaries.
Does she have a background as a treasurer? Does the job require a background as a treasurer? Not is she, do you know?
A title.
She was treasurer when I was served, then that was deputy treasurer when I got here. I'm not sure what the reason was for that. She worked in finance and she was an available employee to sign because our CFOs were part-time, not generally in the
So the
office.
position requires that it's a signatory on the account.
And even still, now that our CFO left, she signed the last round of checks along with me.
This particular individual, he or she holds this title and what other titles?
Tax collector.
Oh.
She handles the day-to-day benefits coordination of all the policies and all the amendments. She is doing all that work?
Policies would come from the administration.
No, I'm saying
and
who's doing
I'm
like the...
trying to answer that. Any policy would come from administration. Benefits coordination is really split up between payroll and this person here. So
Does
there's
she
some
manage
overlap
like
there.
the plan issues, like so it's not the
Life-changing
She
issues,
manages-
like change events and all that, she
birth
manages all
or
that?
divorce or whatever, like if you got divorced and your husband's no longer on your plan, does she handle those or just out of curiosity, like is that in the role and responsibility?
Generally, if there's going to be a change in your coverage because of that, that would go to payroll because where the deduction comes from.
But would she deal with the actual insurance company for the plan?
Likely payroll will be doing that.
So then what do we need this
Benefits
position for?
Coordinator position, what does that do?
There's a lot of coordination that goes on there. Maybe benefit isn't the right word there, but our pension payments and all of the, those all generate from this department.
So it's not medical?
And also, correct me
Other than medical.
if I'm wrong, Bob, she also does the LoSAP
She does.
calculations for everyone.
It's not
And
medical.
the medical payments she does do. But we're talking, but that's to the carriers. If it's an individual policy issue, payroll would handle
So
that.
should we split this up with the payroll person, so it's split evenly, since the payroll person's doing half these duties?
I think there's more than ample duty there to justify this amount. You know, we beat this to death last year, and I
And
think
we
we
can beat it again.
Well, why? I think we answered all the questions, and things are working very smoothly there. It's a valued employee that does good work.
And it is only a 1.5% increase, and if you're saying that the role and responsibilities, and it's being filled, it's warranted, is that what you're saying?
It's more than being filled.
Someone would have to do it.
I'm good with this. Can I have a vote on the $5,075? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
So, sorry,
That's okay.
excuse me.
Councilman Casio.
No.
Councilman Cumming.
Abstain.
Councilman DeSena.
No.
Councilwoman Morgan.
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
So the abstention becomes yes, is that correct?
Well, it's 2 and 2.
It's 2 and 2, the
It's 2 and
abstention.
2.
The abstention doesn't count in the budget.
It's a majority.
So,
So you just have to vote on it. on a proper number.
Why don't you come back to it?
I think we should table it. Could you get us for the next budget meeting, could you get us a roles and responsibilities for this person in the specific, or a recommendation to maybe change the title and what's going on? Because I think maybe benefits
Yes, we-
non-medical or something along those lines,
We'll do that.
or if you have another recommendation.
We'll get back.
Okay, finance treasurer office supplies, $1,000.
Good.
I'm good, and the only thing is we did spend $1156, do we need to make this $1,200 in order not to have to ask for more money?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, all right, I'm good then. Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
Postage line, the lovely postage line, 0. Okay, subscriptions and books, 300, I'm good. Anybody have a problem?
We didn't spend anything last year, so if we reduce it,
One year we spent $289.
Yeah, I think that your 18 number is more reflective of what we should be budgeting for, not the 19 number.
I'm good with the $300.
okay, leave it.
Anybody have an issue? Dues, meetings, and conferences, 1,600, I'm good with that. You have plans, you already have?
We do.
Okay.
What was that for again?
Which one?
The dues, meetings, and conferences. There was one of them on here, we looked over that.
They have a conference they go to as well,
Okay.
tax collector conference.
This is finance
Yeah,
treasurer.
yeah, yeah. Mhm. And there's, how many conferences are in that?
There's definitely one,
Okay.
but we do talk about the possibility of a second one, so that's why we're a little bit higher this year.
They did spend 1,700 last year.
I believe that was the CFO charged a class to hear. This would be for the treasurer to actually attend.
Okay.
I'm sorry. This is for the treasurer?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a treasurer?
Deputy.
The deputy treasurer. Is it for
We're
the
getting
deputy
more
treasurer?
information on.
Wait, we're on line 250, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So line 250 last year was for 2 employees to attend the League of Municipalities.
That was,
And the
And one was
institutes
from
for-
finance and one was from purchasing.
Purchase, yes.
Okay, we've got the Institute for Professionals, the TCTA. The November 20 seminar, looks like it was $25. So in the annual meeting, there's the 60, and then the hotel. I mean, I'm good with the 1,600, because it spent 17 last year. And
And
if
it
you
could be
have,
those same 2 people or
Good.
positions will want to go again this year.
and you have a plan in place.
We do.
Is this for certification?
I believe it's
Well,
to
it's for
keep up with
CEUs.
CEUs, right?
A lot of this was for the CFO, so.
Well, and the plans that we get a CFO, I think we have to, you have to go for the classes.
Absolutely.
Okay, are we good with the 1,600? Can we move on?
Do we have, Mr. Mayor, we have CFOs in the wing that we were interviewing? Okay.
Can we have a vote on this, too, since I'm not getting an answer? Can I have a
Yes.
motion?
Yes,
for-
no, yes,
Okay.
no, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Jeez, President.
I'm just saying, nobody's saying anything. I'm like, do we skip it? Okay, travel expenses, 400 last year, 600 this year. I'm good with the 600. Anybody have any issues with this?
Just to clarify, that increase will tie directly to 133.70 for training.
Okay.
There have been training classes identified, so there'll be travel along with that.
Are the employees that are going to this training eligible for reimbursement, Mr. Tova?
They don't currently get a stipend for their mileage, so they would be.
Okay, that's all it was.
We're good with the 600?
Fine.
Okay. Furniture and equipment, 550. I'm good. It's come down from 750 last year to 550, so,
Only spent 208.
well,
Well, you didn't spend anything in the last 5 years, 4 years.
Do we have something in mind?
And this was the request from the department head. I don't recall any specific things here, so I think we would be okay looking at lowering this to 350.
Unless because nothing's been done in the
Right.
past few years, you would need, you know, an upgrade on something. I'm good with 350.
I know we did
I'm
upgrade.
okay with 350, so minus 200 here?
350.
Okay, can I have a vote on this, please? May I have a motion for 350?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue?
Councilman Casio? Councilman Cumming?
Yes?
Councilman DeSena?
Yes?
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Okay, payroll service. Currently, we're using, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. Anyway, a
It's a
lot.
company, you can say it.
Okay,
See
active
why
data
you
services,
ADS
we do need to raise them.
Corporation.
No.
Sorry, I couldn't help it, it was sitting there.
Yeah, come on.
And they also manage the pension, correct?
No.
Well, they do pension
They
reporting.
do pension reporting, okay. Okay, I'm good with the, do we have any?
Is this
Yeah.
a contractual amount, Mr. Mayor?
The
Because
honest, I don't remember.
We have a recommend of 16 and a requested of 17. So do we have a contract with this company that could give us a,
There is a contract that covers the basic payrolls, but when there's other things like summer rec, those are all add-ons because it's a head count number.
I'd asked this
So-
last year, is it possible to give our summer rec, instead of cutting all these manual checks and putting them in, would it be cheaper to use direct deposit?
We pay for direct deposit depending on your service.
But we had somebody cutting manual checks for.
I
all-
understand.
Which took a lot more time than paying for the service, I'm sure.
I mean, I guess we could explore
Yeah.
putting them into a payroll service.
Yeah.
Sure,
Could we look at both?
of course, yeah.
It would still come out of this line item,
Right,
correct?
yes.
I'm good with the 17,000 as requested, because I think if we,
Why wasn't only, we asked for 15 last year, only 10 was spent.
I'm sure the end of the year
The end of
bills
the year
are.
bill, exactly.
That's what happened last year, we didn't have it.
Yeah.
because if you
yeah.
look at 18, it's 13.5, and we didn't have some of the other items, so.
Yeah.
So what are we going for?
So we're gonna vote on 17,000. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Can I have a vote, please, Sue?
Councilman Casio?
No.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman DeSena?
It's 1,000 here, 1,000 there, it adds up. No.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes.
Council President Feeney?
Yes. Finance treasurer training, 2,000.
Good?
Do we have something in mind?
Yes, a couple of quarters identified.
Okay.
So who's it's just finance, because there is no treasurer.
Or is
So
it the deputy?
courses
treasurer?
identified right now would be for the deputy treasurer.
Okay, finance treasurer printing, nothing.
Are you approving the two?
Oh, wait, I thought we did
Oh,
already,
did
no?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Did-
We did?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Miscellaneous expense, $300, I'm good with that.
Okay?
Anybody have a problem? No. Okay. Financial services, did I miss one? No.
No.
Okay. So this is financial services fee, this is Lynch,
Lurch Vinci.
sorry, yes.
We'll never get that.
It's a tongue twister.
I just never get it, okay. So I'm good, it's the same fee, it's just our estimate, we spent 12 last year, but we spent 18 the year before.
And I believe there's also some year-end that's probably not in the 12 number, just like payroll.
All right, I'm good with the 20, anybody have any issues?
How much is outstanding?
From the year-end, I don't know offhand, but I would think it's closer to either between that 15 to 18 number that was in 2018.
In total?
Yeah.
Why don't we,
So you think it's gonna be 15 to 18?
Yeah.
I would think so.
why don't you make it 18 or 19? Because like he said, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, it all adds up at the end. People are gonna be
I wouldn't do that without a
murdering
CFO.
DeSena in the food town.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true, we don't have a CFO right now.
yeah, there may be a little extra work to
Sorry.
start
We
doing.
don't have a CFO right now.
And so
Well,
So
to
we
lower
need-
it for this year, right, and we don't have a CFO, if we're going to them for more questions, that will be maybe in jeopardy of the amount.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I'm okay with it.
All right,
I'm good with the 20. Anybody have any issues?
okay.
Okay, next line item, audit services, this is Lou May, and company, 35,000, which is same as prior, it's 1,000 difference from 18. I'm good with the 35,000. Anybody have any issues? Okay.
No.
All right, great, good, great. Okay, department total, done. Okay, tax collector. So currently 19 is 50,000. We're requesting 55,825, which from my looks is like an 11.8% increase.
11.65 to be exact, but let's not, let's not round.
What was it?
That is obviously a mistake.
Thank you.
We're recommending 1.5, so we will correct that.
So what's the number?
What's the number? Hold on.
So there's nothing else in there that was,
No,
So it'll be
that's a mistake.
50,750.
wait, he's just, I'm sorry. There
If
was
you
nothing
see the
else?
notes, 1.5 increase is what we were looking for here, so
It'll be
So what is it?
$50,000, $750. That's 1.5.
50,000 and 750.
50750,
Increase by
75.
$750.
Yeah, because 1% is 500 and another half. of
That's
that
what
is-
we're actually
Yeah.
going for, not the, okay.
So this is a reduction here that we have to show, so.
Anybody
55,
have any questions on this line item?
25 minus 5750 equals, so it's a minus 5,075.
Are we at, just curious, $50,000, just, she's full-time? Or this person is in, this role is full-time?
Yes.
Are we at market with this role? Do we
Yes.
know? Well,
I think we're a little low.
Okay. Okay, so we have a vote on $50,075?
$50,750.
Okay, may I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue, vote?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Cummings,
Yes,
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
and Council President Feeney.
Yes. Tax collector, part-time help is 0. Deputy tax collector is 0. Okay. Office supplies, 1,200, I'm good with that. Finance
We
tax
kinda blew
collector,
through
We're at 210, Art.
sorry. Second,
skipping things, going through things, I'm sorry.
Is there a reason for such an increase if we only spent 800 the year before on 210?
Oh, yeah, there have been items identified that the person would like to purchase this year.
what was it?
I'm sorry, say that again?
There's items that the person in the role would like to purchase. I know, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just repeating what Mr. Chova said, it's fine.
Something I had to.
Such as, you know, what the.
Yeah, I don't recall off the top of my head, it's in my notes, I can certainly.
It's fine, it's only
Did I say-
400, but.
I just
If
wonder,
you remember it and it's valid, fine.
just, I'm 1,200,000, but
It's not
Okay,
Going
postage again is lumped up top.
0?
Subscriptions and books, $120, I'm good.
Good.
Dues, meetings and conferences,
Good.
600. So I spent, my only question here was, it's been 740 last year. Is your plan for the 600, or do you think that you're gonna need more?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, good. Anybody have any questions there?
Nope.
Okay, travel, 250, I'm good. Anybody else? Furniture and equipment is 0. Training is 2,000. So last year we spent 977. Do you have a plan in place for the 2,000?
We do, it'll be, looking at, we have 2 training items for that department.
Okay.
So one, in essence, one is for CFO, one is for tax.
Okay, since we don't know
So-
what the situation is, I'm okay with leaving it at 2,000.
I think we're going to need it, yes.
Anybody have any issues?
Nope.
Okay, tax bills, 4,000.
It's good, but like I said in the beginning, since it's more than enough room, we might have to do estimated this year.
Okay.
But if we only did 1,700 for the one last year, if you double that, 4,000 should still cover it.
Okay, I'm good with that. Anybody else?
Nope.
All right, miscellaneous, $850. So I see that in 18 we spent 17, and now last year we only spent 176. I think this is a happy middle. I'm good with the 850. Anybody have any problems? Okay. Software licenses, 3,500, nothing was spent last year, but is that because there's no bill that came in yet?
Correct.
Okay. So the bill will be
The bill
coming.
probably has come in,
Okay.
but after this run was made.
Okay. All right, everybody good with the 3,500, even though last year was zero paid? The bill still hasn't hit?
Correct.
Okay, so that takes care of that. Okay. Tax assessor's office. Salary and wages, this is a 1.5% increase.
Good?
Good with that? The clerk is recommended increase above the 1.5%. Is this to bring this position to market or?
Yeah, it's below, and we also, she's also spending more hours down there, so.
Okay.
And any other titles for this
Yes,
particular person?
2 others.
They are?
Planning and zoning.
Yes, zoning, planning, secretary.
So
Why is she spending more time down there? We have the assessor down there.
the assessor, in essence, only works 1/2 day per week, and there's been more work needed on deeds and just upkeeping on books, so.
Okay, so the tax assessor's part-time and the clerk, so bring that, you're like at 30,000 roughly. I'm good with the 8,000. I think we should, anybody have any other questions? I think we should take a vote on this. May I have a motion to vote on the 8,000, please?
So this person is working full-time for us?
Yes,
And she's splitting her time between tax assessor, clerk, zoning, and planning?
right.
Excuse me.
If we just find what the other salary is,
Yeah, that's what
please.
I'm trying to find, so.
I believe it's 15 each, plus 1.
For the secretary? For the secretary?
Yeah.
Where's that? Do we know what page that's on?
And 25.
Oh, page 25.
Page 23 and 25.
Excuse me.
We were promised a chart that would show these things over a year ago.
So the secretary
Still
for-
never seen it.
I'm sorry, the chart showing the salary breakdown?
Multiple functions of the people who
No.
have more than one job.
You did get that last year.
Where's the zoning one? I see planning. but
25.
It's 25, I think it's, one is 850 and the other, $850,
trying to
right?
keep
And the
it
other
from
one
us.
is, how much is the other one?
For the 850 for the meeting fees.
Oh, that's the meeting
Yeah.
day, sorry.
16,225.
So. And the other one's on 23, right?
Correct.
And they're both the same.
They're both the same.
But the percentages are incorrect.
Correct. The note is incorrect.
The note is totally incorrect. I'm okay with keeping everything at 1.5% of the previous year, as we have done for everybody else.
Is there a reason why you're asking for additional increase on this before we just say 1.5 is good?
Not that I can think of.
No, well, I can't. I think there was some, we're back to the numbers again, but here's another position that when you look at the amount of work for a full-time position being that 35 to 40 range is more appropriate with market overall in municipal government. So the goal is try to get her more in that range.
Because the total salary is 38,450, which I mean, you look at a full-time position and a living wage.
Right, agreed.
That's the proposed salary, 38,450?
That's the total.
No, but that's the total proposed.
Total
not-
Yeah, that's the total
yes.
proposed.
For a 40-hour
For the 3
week.
For a
positions.
40-hour, 35-hour week.
35 hours.
For a 35-hour week.
So it's a full-time position.
That's 35 hours, though.
And this is one that we've known was below market across the board.
I know, so it's not like, though, it's not like she's getting 38,450 for a 40-hour week, is what I'm saying. So
Yes,
No.
it's an increase, yeah.
It is an increase, but it's still, you know, we look at living wage and, you know,
I'm okay with the 1.5% increase over last year.
which number are you okay with?
1.5% over
Last
last year at the tax line of 120.
All three lines I would be okay with, because they're,
Yeah, well, all three lines,
because they're not, they're incorrectly marked. They're more than 1.5% at all three lines.
All three lines should, again, keep it straight across.
We can't say that in all three lines, because
Actually, no, it
line
doesn't say-
120 is recommended increase above 1.5.
Correct.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. I misread that. But the other two lines say 1.5% salary increase, Mr. Tuttle.
So, but you are recommending
Gladly fix
above
them.
because of bringing this person to market to a complete salary of 38,000.
Correct.
The recommended came to 38,450, right?
Yeah.
I'm all right, I'm okay with that.
Okay, so we still have to look at it at the line level on the 8,000, which I now lost my line.
Page
Page
15.
15.
I think what we're forgetting to look at also is that we start adjusting these people for more. There's other people that are under there, I forget the exact words you used, Stacy, but there's other people that work in this building that make less than 38,450. That's their living wage, you know, like a
But then I
considerable
agree,
amount.
we need
No,
to
but
bring them up to market then.
But we approved them at
But-
1.5 above last year's, which puts them at 30, 31, 32. And now this person, we're gonna give a lot more to.
Well, it's not really a lot more. I mean,
Well, it is. It's more than the 1.5% we gave the
I
other
agree
people at
it's in the
30,000.
percentage wise, yes. But in the roles and responsibilities that they have, they're saying, you know, we're not watching every single day what they're doing in the building, correct? But Mr. Tovo and Mr. Calamari, they're aware. So I think we
But
have to-
without doing-
But I think we also have to take what they're saying at recommendation. Do you have any idea how much time they're working on things and how hard they're working? Not performance, but how much time the actual role requires.
Without doing, just to put everybody on the same page, this council has given out 1.5% increases to all employees for the last 2 years, correct? Because we do not do performance reviews that take into account what your salary should or should not be adjusted to. Because if we did that, then some people may not get a raise and some people got a raise, but we've taken the adage that everybody gets the minimum of 1.5% across the board.
But maybe
So
that's
No,
not the right.
we brought people up to market. That's not fair.
Yeah, it's not true.
That was 2 years ago, we made them part-time to full-time.
But it's an ongoing process. It's not like it stops in a year. If the
Market's
market
not
changes,
stagnant. I mean,
right.
anybody's role is not stagnant.
But then you gotta review everybody's the same way.
But maybe that
Well,
should be the
we are
case.
reviewing everybody. That's why we made recommendations even over and above the department head level. If you
He's
go-
saying
if
they
you-
are making recommendations, but you can't just say he's not. If they're telling you they're making recommendations
That's
based
my
upon.
opinion. I'm
No,
entitled to
but-
my opinion. That's Mike
But you-
DeSena speaking. I am saying I
Okay,
am
that's
not for
fine.
it, and that's the end of it. I mean, I'm not gonna change my value. It's either we give everybody the same, you know,
No, but no job works like that. You can't tell me that every job works that if Art gets 3% and Steve gets 2% and you get 1%. Because what company works in that way, where Art got 3%, you got 2, you got 1, now everybody has to get 3. The world doesn't work that
You
way.
had no problem last year when the clerk got more than 1.5%.
but we're not talking about the clerk.
You said
What-
everybody should be the same.
Yeah,
But she got made, she went from part-time to full-time.
Not the
The
clerk.
clerk
Oh,
did
yeah, I'm
not.
talking about deputy clerk. I'm sorry. It's, what
If you also look at the other factor, and that is, if you had to replace the position, okay, what's that dollar number gonna be? I can tell you it's gonna be at the number we're recommending or more. Because every time we look to hire, we find out we're below market value for virtually every position.
yeah, we will. This one more time.
I would like to table this one. Can we stop there, Stacy, since it's 2 o'clock, and we'll go over this one next week? And I
I'm okay with
personally would
that.
like this employee raised.
What is
Why
there
would
about
we-
performance?
I know, this is
I
not.
can't speak about what my performance is without it being done.
But we're talking about bringing this person to market for their role and responsibility,
And I-
not for their performance.
And my suggestion is that this person be raised, and then we'll discuss it. That's all. We don't have to, but I'm just putting it, that's my recommendation.
Last year, and Art was here, and Mike was here, and the year before, we brought pretty much everyone, we bumped everyone up to market value.
I have to
We bumped-
disagree
You
based
did
upon
not
these
do
numbers.
everybody.
I'm sorry, but that's the fact of the matter, that's what happened.
So pull those
And that's
meeting
why-
minutes and show them.
that's
Wait,
why-
market is an
and-
opinion, it's not fact.
So bring me those and tell me everybody was
That's right,
bringing
it was an opinion, and it wasn't my opinion, it was the administrator's opinion.
So we
And
have
talked about it.
we have a meeting that's,
Let me finish, and then you can rebut if you like. We brought it up, and I'm uncomfortable doing it again. That's all I'm saying. So I will not be voting
This
for,
particular
I will
line-
not be voting for this particular line item for that increase. I will go 1.5%, and that's what I'm doing.
But if the
That's it.
person isn't at market, and then we're not retaining employees because they're not at market, then it's gonna
Did he
cost,
leave? Did the
then it's
person
gonna,
leave?
wait, Steve, and then it's gonna cost us, if we go out, it's gonna cost us 10,000. What benefits the town?
You don't know what you're going to do.
This employee
Either way.
wasn't here last
Well,
year, so there was
You
no
don't know what you're gonna
opportunity
get.
to bring it to market.
I'm sorry, say that again, Mr.
This
Sherpa?
employee just started last year, so we've never had a chance until now to bring it to market. You know, we combine positions and put things together and threw a number out there, and it's time to look at, is that number right or not?
And was everybody brought to market previously?
I can't say, no, I don't think so.
It's an ongoing process,
It
as
is
you
an
said.
ongoing
It's not
process.
locked in today's market, tomorrow.
Some yes.
You fall behind the market, or you get
Some yes,
ahead in some cases.
Which is the way it goes with
No,
with salaries.
But the other thing that's happening is there's a change in responsibilities.
It's true.
Okay? So this is, for me, it's getting like the old shell game. You know, well, oh, Daisy did it, this is mythical Daisy. Not the
Be careful.
All right. Ermintrude.
Sally.
I haven't got any Ermintrudes. Ermintrude was doing this, that's replaced. Now you've got this one doing this, and then we're bringing this one up to market because this position is below.
So could we get
We've
the
heard this.
schedule
We've
again?
heard this, and we've done this. We've worked with you in good faith. And at this point, we've asked also for a list of who's who and who does what, an organization chart.
And you got an organizational chart last year, as well as a breakdown of everybody by name and by titles. And we will do the same again this year, once we get to that portion of the process.
Don't remember receiving
Does
it.
anybody else remember receiving that?
We got
A draft, I got a draft. We did get a flow chart, but we asked for job
Draft of a
description.
flow chart?
Yeah, we got the job description.
They got it, I got it.
It was half baked.
That's not what Mr. Cummings just asked for. He asked for something they already received, and we'll receive again this year.
We need,
Well,
and then-
I'm
and
sorry,
if there
but
are
I'm gonna have to
changes,
leave.
there need to be change, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Two of us can't talk at once.
So I need to adjourn the meeting, I need a motion?
So
So moved.
I
Second?
guess I did.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You adjourned me.
Good job, everyone.